Good evening and welcome to the weekly Factor here on Factor of Games. I'm your host, Greg, and you are hanging out with me tonight, at least for a little bit. We're going to talk about some games that you voted on, right? We do this weekly. It's kind of the thing here on the channel for the live stream. That's basically it. I like to do a little bit of live streaming. I used to love it. I really still like it, but I kind of think like a lot of people are just looking for more of the stuff on the machines, so I don't do it as much. But I do a weekly show here. If this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. And just so you know, it is voted on by the viewers. So the people that subscribe to the channel, or pretty much anybody, but if you subscribe, you get notified of when the vote goes up every day. Essentially vote on the games that we're going to show. So we do roughly about noon every day, exactly at noon usually, is when the live poll goes up. It's basically 4 games. What do you want to see out of those 4 running on either the Steam Deck or the Legion Go? Once you've done your voting, that actually the winner goes forward into Saturday. It's basically Monday through Friday. So we end up with 5 games normally. I'll follow up on that statement here in a minute. And then I choose a 6th game. So I actually pick the 6th one. And it could be a game that's basically today, tomorrow, or like this week, last week, the same week kind of thing. Started 5 minutes too late. Welcome, Benman. How are you? Sorry, I know that you'd sent a message. I didn't get a chance to see it. I was working all this week at my day job, trying to get stuff done for social media, and then having to go in the evenings and paint studios and do all sorts of stuff for maintenance and facility stuff. So, yeah, but I was just saying that essentially the people here vote on the games that we're going to show. So what games are we going to talk about this week? And I'll kind of run through that, but I did leave that one statement saying normally or usually there's 5 voted on. Well, this week, and I don't know if I have a browser session here. Let me see if I can do that. No. Give me 1 second. We're going to try. And I'm going to try to bring up I don't know why it's not bringing up my Chrome browser. But I'm going to try to do that for us here because I want to show. Nope, that's actually the little thing down in the corner from Humble Bundle. And by the way, thank you to everybody who uses Humble Bundle. Recently, as the show's been going, it's been getting used more often, and there's actually a revenue stream coming in that's helping me pay my bills. So I appreciate it. It's not a lot, but it's plenty for me. Well, it's nice to see, right? Like it's not a huge amount, but thank you for those who use that. So let me pull this up. Okay, this is the one that I want. So yeah, usually I think this is going to pull it. Is it? I don't know. It should be. See, this browser thing, I don't know. I can never get it to connect correctly. Maybe that one. There we go. So I archive every vote that actually happens on the channel. While you see it disappear within 24 hours, I don't just have them delete and never see them again. I actually archive all of these. So I've got like every vote we've ever had on the show, right? Since January, the first week of January, whenever we started it. But anyhow, the winner this week of one of the days actually tied. Now I've only seen this like one other time. And what I ended up doing was showing both games. So we're going to do the same. So this week we're going to have 6 games plus the one that I chose. Lunamax, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for stopping in. You're going to shout out on your Discord. Oh, appreciate it, Ben. Thank you, man. Or Ben. Benman's the old name, right? But this week we had 2 games for one day that tied. So essentially we're going to show 6 games plus the one that I choose. So let's go ahead and take a look at those games, which ones we are going to show. And I think we could take a look at it on here. So, actually, let's look at it on the Steam Deck. I think that'll be better. So, for the Steam Deck, well, for both of them, for both consoles, it's not just Steam Deck, but Let's see if we've got all of those lined up, because I did download everything. So Morbid is the one that I chose this week. We'll start with that one. Morbid is an interesting game. It's a Souls-like game. You know, I saw the article this week where they were saying like, we got to stop using the Souls-like for every game that's like Souls, which I don't know, kind of semantics, right? Kind of one of those things. And yeah, Ben is why you're here. Okay, very cool. Well, thank you for stopping in, Lumax. Appreciate it, Ben. That is awesome. And welcome. What were you just in Ben's stream? I imagine that's kind of one of the places that he was just saying that he was going to raid, but then, or he would have raided, but I started a few minutes too late. What were you playing, by the way, Ben? The other game that we're going to actually show, this was the one that was voted on, is Chaosbane. So we're going to talk about that. There's a big Warhammer sale going on Steam. If you don't already know, you can check that out. It's just on the main page. I think they're doing something around skulls. You're one of his mods. Awesome. Well, welcome. Ben and I have known each other for, what did we figure out last week, Ben? 12 years? Something like that. I don't know. Maybe not that long. 10 years? Maybe it's 10. That's still a decade. We're going to go through Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. We're going to show that. Now, that is the anniversary edition, so that one's got all the features, and it's now verified on the Steam Deck, if you don't know that. So they've gotten rid of the launcher that used to be there, so there's no more launcher on Steam Deck. It just goes straight into the game, and you can essentially start playing. Now, you can't really change the settings, though. You could probably go in and configure them in the text file, you know, your config file, but there's no way to do it within game any longer, which is okay because it runs at 60 frames per second, and that's all we need. That's what you were saying. 12 years. Yeah. That was it. Oh, you were doing Persona 5. Oh, very nice. Yeah, Persona 5 is really good. I like it. Did you do the remaster of Persona 3 yet? Or I guess it's a remake. I don't know. Remake, probably. Yeah, it's very optimized. Oh, you'll be surprised. Yeah, we're going to check it out. It's amazing. 60 frames per second. Hey, it's a 12-year-old game. Hell, it's come out as long as we've known each other, I think, or something close to that. Except the Anniversary Edition, obviously, was an update. We're also going to do Darktide because it tied with Chaosbane, and I know that, you know, half the audience, or not half, but we'll probably say like 3/4 of the audience voted for those two games, and half of each were for one or the other. We're also going to take a look at Batman Arkham City, which now does run on Steam Deck, no issues. They used to not. They used to have a problem, but they got that running. Then we're going to take a look at Shadows of War as well. And we're also going to take a look at Senua, Saga. I don't know where it is on here. It's somewhere on the game, on the Steam Deck. I don't know. I've got hundreds of games on here. But Senua, Saga, Hellblade II, we're going to take a look at that, which we'll probably start with that one and just take a look at that. I was in the middle of Persona 3 reload right now. Oh, very nice. It's, you know, they're all pretty good, and I can see that, like a game of the year kind of thing, for sure. I'm going to have to switch this because I am missing some of the chat, and I, for some reason, can't scroll up on it. There we go. Now I can see it, but I'm going to have to make it a little bit bigger. Give me 1 sec. That way I don't miss. Oop. There we go. Much better. I got you now. I see your stuff. Okay, cool. All right, let's go ahead and jump over to, might as well jump to the first game. Let me just shut down the music here. Let's take a look at Senua's Saga. Since that was voted on, that was the kind of key title for the week, I guess, in terms of like what we vote on. So let's take a look at that. Now, I've already put out a real view video for this. So you've seen it run directly on the Steam Deck itself. You don't have to worry about that. It does run. It's not going to run 60 frames per second. That is not the capability of the Steam Deck right now for Ninja Theory's latest game, but we'll see. So rough for big releases. Yeah, a little bit. No doubt about that. I have to look over here to see it. Is my chat even keeping up? Or is it just, there it goes. Now it is. I want to get rid of this. Disable that. There we go. Now I can see it. Twitch is twitching hard this week. Oh, was there issues with Twitch this week? I stream on Twitch, obviously, but I watch it here and there. I've got a friend that, a couple of friends, Ben's one, but another friend that runs her streams, and I think they were doing Diablo 4 this week, but everything seemed fine. Okay, so Senua Saga obviously follows off of Hellblade, which was about 7 years ago. So it took 7 years to get this game out there. We will start taking a look at, now it looks really dark, and there's a reason for that. And I forgot to change something, so it's probably going to screw it up. But let me see if I can fix that right now. I've got HDR running on my PC, the streaming PC, which I was testing something. And HDR causes some issues with the Steam Deck every once in a while. It makes it look really dark, and we saw this earlier. So let's exit out really fast and kind of try to reload this. I'm going to actually switch inputs, see if it'll help us out a little bit. I don't think so. I think it's still going to do that. Is Dakota Shea still around? Yeah, yes, she is. Yeah. Her and Joe are still around. And I know Joe streams, and I think Dakota does something for TikTok. She works with TikTok somehow. One of the, I believe what she does is she is a TikTok influencer partner manager or something like that. So let's see, we're going to jump in. We'll go back in. We'll see if it actually fixed that. We might have to turn HDR off again. Sometimes the reason why this happens is kind of HDR gets screwed up with, how's it work essentially? It gets screwed up because the game is controlling HDR and the Steam Deck is controlling HDR, and they kind of battle it out on direct capture. It's really strange. It's still on right now. It's going to look a little bit weird. We're going to try to work through that. We'll see if we can make it look better. Apps crashing and lagging. Wow. On mobile, it's lagging, Luna. Okay. Wow. Not very good. I used to be a big Twitch streamer. Well, not big, but I used to stream on there only for years, every night. So, yeah, I used to use it a lot. I don't use it that. I use it for this show, just on the weekends, though. Yeah, that's really dark. Let's see if we can fix some of this. So HDR, see, it's still battling because HDR is on the device, or on the game, not on the device. But it sees the screen on the device as an HDR compliant screen, so it basically forces it on and kind of keeps it on there. So it's a little bit weird. Let's see. We've got a 1280 by 720. We're using FSR3, so AMD's tech. We've got it on balance, which we could go down to performance. See if that'll help us out, because this game does not get 60. It gets kind of like the 40s, 30s, 40s in terms of performance. Let's see. Advanced settings. A little bit. Basically everything's set to low. Amanda Adsky. 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 Welcome. Thank you for subscribing. Greatly appreciate it. That's when you were around, is when they streamed on air. Yeah, totally. Yeah, you do need to have stable, like for streaming, it has to be very stable. I remember, oh my God, we used to complain constantly that, before there was, what's the term over on, it's term for everything, but, before they had kind of like, they could drop it down from like 720, like 1920 by 1080 down to 720, and all of that, where you didn't have that. It was always really crappy, where you couldn't really stream well at 720, so it would have to drop down to 480. Yeah, it was just not one of the fun things. This is a darker game right now, just so everybody's aware. It is somewhat dark. Scaling, yeah, scaling, I guess, Luna, is what I'm thinking. Oh, Amanda is you. Well, thank you, Amanda. Thank you for following on the YouTube side as well. Appreciate it. Yeah, what's the term for that, though? Where you had to be, like, what did you have to be? You had to be, like, X amount of viewers, and then you would get the quality options. I guess that's what it was called. It was quality options. Like, so you could actually go down, like if you were streaming at 1920, it would automatically lower the bit rate so that people could watch it like 480 or something like that if they didn't have good internet. That's what I'm thinking of. But it's scaling essentially. But they called it like quality options, and then you would be able to be like, ah, yes, you know, finally. And you had to have at that time, oh my God, what was it on, Ben, do you remember? Wasn't it like you had to have like 100 viewers or something like that to get quality options? And then you would be able to, they would be able to adjust it. I think it was something like that. Boy, it's really dark in here. Let's see if we can brighten this up just a little bit, because I can't even see what I'm doing. Let's see. Is there any kind of display? I see gamma, HDR. Is gamma what we're thinking? The brightness. Yeah, let's try to do that. I mean, I don't know if that's only for HDR or not. Okay, I'm going to crank it up because I can't even see what the hell's going on. It's really dark. It's going to be maybe a little too dark. Requirement was 100 back then, yeah, and 4,000 followers. Yep, that's what it was. Okay. Because we would get them whenever I would hit like 100, and obviously I think the requirement maybe was less than 4,000 back in the day. Because I never had 4,000. I think it was 1,000 viewers, 1,000 followers and like 100 viewers on the stream, and you'd get them, or something like that. It's probably higher now. So there. Hey, how are you? Welcome. Yes, from YouTube and the almighty Sunbro. Welcome, man. Appreciate you stopping in. You're on Twitch tonight, though, I take it. Yeah, I've been on Twitch for, well, we were just talking about that. I was on Twitch for a long time and streamed on there for many years. And back then, yeah, we could pull 100 viewers on Twitch. I think even a couple times, like Boogie2988 would raid the stream or something like that. That's when he was seen differently in the eyes of the internet, right? And like he would bring like, geez, I remember like 1,500 people over or something like that. It was a lot for me, where I normally average like 50 to 100, right, kind of thing. But then life changed. I was working on projects for a game company, right, and like couldn't continue to do it every night, and people like Ben grew up, right? Okay, now here we go. So you can see, I mean, we're hitting 30. That's about as good as you're going to get in this game on the Steam Deck. So that's on Steam Deck. Now we're going to have to take a look at it in a minute on the Legion Go. Yeah, it always depends on the game. I don't know if you see that still, Ben, like the amount of, like when you're doing Persona, viewer count goes up versus like an indie game. But like, remember, it was always like we were trying to do a lot of indie games, except for like Destiny and stuff like that. So Destiny was a big thing on the channel back then. Let me see if I can, oh, jeez. Such a rough game. This game, what I've been calling it in my head is like the Misery March, because that's all it feels like at the beginning. It's just like the most miserable, not experience, but like the life of like Senua, right, is just so miserable when you're like, God, this just sucks. I think I gotta smack him with the hard. Okay, get him now. There we go, finally. Good Lord. Yeah, exactly. Isn't it? Yeah, she's dead, right? Or something like that, she thinks. Okay. Wow. I was doing so much better. I figured we'd just start kind of at the beginning, because this is a walking, kind of, not in a negative term, but like a walking simulator, right, kind of style. The slog of war, exactly. Oh, God. Okay, I want to... Right through the back. Wreak Havoc, welcome. Is this Mad Max? I want to see Mad Max Furiosa. I like the Mad Max series, but no, this is the death march of Senua, it seems. Oh, it always gets Ben. Ben likes to write the stories on here. I'd meant to turn that off, but then I forgot. I'll do it again. Oh, where's he at? So your numbers are better than they used to be because of community. That's always a big thing. That was always what it was on the channel as well, right? Same idea, man. It was like a dedicated amount of people that would come and watch, and we'd talk the whole night. It Luna, it does. It got him like a couple times last week. Okay, I think we're going to hit like a kind of a saving point here so we can jump over and check it out on the Legion Go, because we're going to get a little bit better performance. And we're going to try it at 1280. Normally I run that at 1920 by 1080. This is the big fight, I think. Well, at least for right now. You got to use everything you learned. These Nords. Oh. Is that him? That's not on your screen. Oops, I had to move something off screen. Wow. Uh-oh. I'll tell you, if it was me, I would have finished her off there, because why talk? Just get rid of him. Community's super cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I will admit, I mean, like, it was always fun to build that on Twitch. I found a good community here on YouTube as well. All the viewers, I mean, there's a lot of dedicated people. They don't see as much because I wasn't really building the channel to be live stream so much here on YouTube, but I mean, they watch every video, comment on every video, like leave a like and all that stuff, which is always supportive. It's amazing. Oh, come on. Don't talk, just... Oh, that's her head. That's her head, that's right. Parry. Dark Souls, dodge, roll. Ooh. Oh, man, he's tough. I'm gonna try the big swing. Nope. Yeah, they were always fun. The Fogcast days. The nightly fog. I think that's ultimately what the show has called me in. I've always used the fog moniker in everything. Okay, maybe once we get past this guy. Will we? Am I? I probably am, because I'm really not doing well. They've got a lot more stamina than I would have in a sword fight. Oof. Come on. Do I have to roll around him, maybe? Oh, come on. Chaosbane, yes, okay. I was saying, like, I haven't seen it that cheap before. The link that's below goes to the Humble Bundle partnership, but they've got it for, I think, $3.99. That's the Slayer edition, so that's all the DLC and everything. I haven't seen it that low. I bought it, I think it was like $10 or something like that a while ago. He didn't have a good kneecap. Probably buy it off there. I know it's on sale on Steam as well, so you can always, I mean, I would check all over, but I think the $3.99 is the cheapest one I've seen. I mean, that guy's tough, yeah. This game is, it's pretty short from what I've heard. Yeah. I think it's like maybe 5 if you take your time. Maybe it's 7. Something like that. I mean, what was the other game that we had just played? I did the full playthrough and put it all up in HDR. What was that? Alone in the Dark. That one, that was pretty short. That was like 5-6 hours. But it was 2 storylines, kind of like Resident Evil 2, right? Like where you have like you have Leon's story, and then you've got Jill's. Is it Jill Valentine? Yeah, Jill's story. Or no, not Jill's. Why can't I think of her name? Chris's sister. I can't remember. Okay, now what we're going to do is jump over to the Legion Go. So, let's see. You see how that, like, you get that screen door effect? That's like FSR, working its upscaling magic. Let's see if we can't exit here. I think that was a save point. So let's go back. We'll put it on the Legion Go. We're going to have to do these a little bit faster this week because we've got 2 that tied, so we got to cover another game. But that was kind of the Steam Deck. So we saw it like 30 to 60 frames, or 30 to 40 frames, roughly. So if we take a look at the Legion Go, and we'll go ahead and just do this one at 720p as well. I think that'll be reasonable to go ahead and try that. So let's jump in and see how the Legion Go looks. A little bit more power. Sorry. I was talking to myself for a minute there. Yeah, Game Pass on that one for sure. Did everybody watching, did you play the original Hellblade? Kind of know the gameplay, the story, and all that? All right, let's jump in. So now you can see it looks a little bit better, the starting screens and all that, with it being non-HDR, because as far as I know, the Legion Go, yeah, the screen doesn't support HDR, so you get a little bit different experience. You didn't play it, okay? And you played an hour or 2, the original one, yeah. And you didn't either, Reek. Okay, yeah. A lot of people, you know, it's kind of a weird thing, like. There are some diehards that really like the Hellblade series, or the first one, but I don't know. I don't know too many people that have ever played it. I only played it for an hour or so, I think. So I never went through the entire game. It's kind of hard to hit every game, but that was kind of a bigger one. This is the first run on the Legion Go. I didn't do a real view video, so we got to wait a second for the shaders to compile. Shouldn't take too long. It'll probably speed up right at the end. But yeah, that That second one, it's pretty short from what I've heard. I've heard the same thing. I think it's still like that walking. I wouldn't call it a walking simulator since there is actual combat, but it's very much like you're on rails, right? Like you're not going to be able to divert. It's just pushing you forward the whole time. So let's go ahead and take a look at the settings for this one. So we will drop, so it's set at 1920 by 1080 right now, but let's drop it down to, actually, let's leave it there. Let's see how it does in comparison to the 720p, because usually you can get a little bit better. Is it like God of War cinematic wise? Yeah, thinking about it, I'd probably compare it to that. Not maybe the combat side, but yeah, definitely. Oh, Detroit. Oh, very cool. Yeah, Detroit's Becoming Human. That's a really good one. Was that Quantum? What's their name? Quantum Theory? No, Ninja Theory, Quantum. I can't even remember. What happened to my controller here? Did it lock up? I think it did. Give me a sec. Let me see if I can fix this. What happened? It was working. Did it just jump into the background? I think it froze. Give me a sec. We're going to restart that. If we can. Huh. That's weird. I don't know what happened there. And like even the mouse isn't responding. Like none of the touch controls are responding on the actual machine itself. I'm having to use like a mouse and a keyboard inside of it. I don't know why that is. It didn't have any problems before. Okay. That could be that graphics driver issue. So this is one thing that we could be facing. But let's jump in. Let's try it one more time. Quantic Dream. That's it. Not Quantum. Quantic Dream. Steam Deck's your favorite handheld, Silker? I like it as well. I mean, it's a pretty decent device. I've enjoyed owning it. Obviously, but... All right. Let's try this again. I'm not going to just attempt to change anything. We'll see if we can just get the game to start. And then we'll go in and see if we can do that. So it should start from where we left off. And then we'll go in and take a look at the settings. But we are at the 1920 by 1080 resolution. Yeah, Quantic, didn't they do like Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls? You don't have any handhelds yet? You know, the handheld side is really nice, right, in general. Like being able to take it with you. Like it works out really well. We're running into a problem. We can't even start it. This is what you'd face if you just bought it. What is the deal here? Yeah, it's not loading. Although it looks like it's still trying. Did it freeze everything again? It seems like it did. Although, like, it's still registering that it's up and running. It's not moving forward for us. So... we might be skipping Hellblade on here. Because this was part of the issue. It doesn't like, yes, it likes certain parts of it. But the AMD driver, I don't know... I don't think there's anything we can do. We can probably do one thing here, which is we can verify the integrity of it. But it's been updating as it's went, so I don't think there was anything that it missed out on. But we'll check. It'll take a minute or so. Actually, what we can do, instead of like having dead air, let's go back to the Steam Deck. Sorry, you hit the wrong button. And let's jump into the next game, and we will let that do its check and see if we can't get it running on there. So, we took a look at Senua, Saga. I want to say Senua. You remember Senua, Ben? Probably. Senua used to be a friend of the channel. We would check out her streams and all that. But like Senua is, we check that out on here. I would say let's check out Chaosbane. Let's take a look at the Warhammer game since they're on sale right now. So this game says it doesn't run. This is one of those ones where, you know, there may be something that doesn't run in it, like the online, but I tested it. I didn't have a problem with playing the game otherwise. So I thought the game played really well. And it actually plays at like 90 frames per second. Well, between 70 and 90, let's say that. You could lock it at 60 and just be fine. You'll see it on here. It's going to play 60 because obviously direct capture, the capture card only captures at like 60. Oh, did she stop streaming? Oh, okay. I knew she had streamed for a while, but I didn't know she stopped. Oh, you have an MSI Katana laptop.
In an age of lawlessness
Very nice.
and despair,
I mean, if you have a
the
gaming laptop,
ruins, torn asunder
you know,
by
the only thing
civil
you're
war.
missing out on is just truly the portability factor of like being able to lay in bed easily without it like being on something, right? That's kind of the nice thing there. Traveling on a plane, kind of close. You'd probably be very similar.
Seeking the favor of the dark
Have I ever played Splinter Series or Splinter Cell Chaos Theory? Yes, yes, I have. Soulcare. I played that on. I want to say the. I think the Xbox 360 for sure, but I
the invaders entered
yeah.
the distant northern kingdom of Kislev.
And I think I had the remastered collection on like the or whatever they called it on the PlayStation 3. That's it.
Gods. And any who managed to flee were driven into the freezing wilderness.
Here, we can speed this up. Now this is an action RPG. You know, does everybody? I'm sure everybody understands like Warhammer, right? From like Workshop Games. Warhammer is just a franchise. It's a license essentially of that fantasy realm. And everybody can make games, and then they just go, and I think Workshop pretty much, I wouldn't say they just hand the license out to everybody, but they've got a lot of partners and a lot of developers that have made games, and they don't really, you know, as long as the game has an interesting aspect to it, I don't think they turn you down too much. So there's a lot of games that use the Warhammer franchise by developers that made games for it, right? It just kind of is tied together by this universe. So these are the settings we're dealing with. Again, it's just working off of whatever resolution that you're running. We're running 720 here, where on the Steam Deck itself it'd be 1280 by 800. You can throw in the 4K texture pack. We don't need that here, obviously, but that's free download as well. So the game's, you know, pretty well taken care of, and essentially it's a Diablo-esque clone, right? You mainly use your desktop, Ben. Makes sense. Oops. Sorry, I just wanted to hit play. There we go. Okay, there we go. I thought I hit something wrong. It's got much more power. Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that would be the same case as these as well, right? Like you're dealing with an AMD integrated GPU. So, I mean, you're only going to get so much power out of that compared to, like, for example, I have a 4090, right? Like, so I do tend to play a lot more on the Steam Deck though, even though I have that 40. It's only kind of like for specific occasions that I play on the 4090, like when I want to record something in 4K for the channel. Bloodborne, Silker, yeah. Blood Bowl from the Warhammer series, yeah. But you don't really care for them. Gotcha. You baby it like crazy because you built the desktop. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I think they have Blood Bowl 3. It just came out. It's on sale. I think this is where we want to go, over here. There we go. A 4070? Nice. I had a really good year last year. Well, I was kind of laid off, but I did get a job for a period of 6 months. I took a contract kind of thing, and essentially made enough, and YouTube was making enough during the holidays where I ended up putting money towards like a really good rig, like you're saying, right? Like you did. But I kind of went a little overboard. I did, because I knew what I was going to use it for, and I was basically taking and using the money that I had from it. So I put like a 4070. I don't think we want to go that way. Well, maybe we do. Can I get down there yet? No. Find the Chaos Camp. Where was that entrance? I had a save on a different game. Here it is, this one. Oh, it's locked. That's right. So what's going on with that? Why isn't it pulling my save game? Give me 1 sec. Let me exit. Yes, I want to go back to the main thing because there should be another save. You wanted a 4090 but couldn't justify the price. I got a pretty good deal on mine. I bought it off of a company I've dealt with before, and they gave me a good price on it, and I got like a 4090 and a 14, I want to say a 14900 i9 with like 128 gigs of RAM. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but it should last forever for the channel. So recapping, how racist was the gaming industry behind the scenes? If you don't want to answer, that's fine. No, I mean, I'd answer anything about the gaming industry for you. You know, how racist? That's a good question. I don't think I ever ran into a situation where I saw racism in front of me, right? You've got to take that in two different ways. Depending upon where you work, I think might be the difference. Like if you work in the US, I don't think I ever ran into it all that much, but I will say the companies that I did work for, and this is probably part of that, to your point, right, or to your question, a lot of the folks are white, right? Like there's ethnic backgrounds don't extend too far, right? Like I want to say at one point it was like 90% were white and the other 10% was kind of mixed up. Anymore, that's changed a lot, right? Because if you're in India, for example, it's like obviously going to be like 98% India, right? Like it's going to be your local culture, local ethnicity and all of that. And maybe 2% are like a mixture because, you know, you work with somebody that's in the US and they could be, you know, African-American, they could be white, they could be Caucasian, whatever you want to consider it. In Europe, it's going to be far more likely that, you know, they're going to be from depending upon the country, right? In that sense. It looked like you, and yeah, and that's the truth. That's what I was saying. Like that's for sure. There's not a lot of African American, male or female, in the games industry, right? I funny enough, I'll give you another story today. For my kid, we just went to DigiPen, which is, if you know what DigiPen is a school for essentially its core audience, or its core criteria is really around game development, but it also extends maybe into like the movie industries and all of that, right? Like, so it's really 3D. Computer science, Bachelor of Arts in game design, Bachelor of Arts in music, Bachelor of Arts in art design, creative design. You know, I think I saw one African American family there. That was it today. Out of I don't know, we'll say 40 families, right? There was one African American family, right? Like that is a fact. And that's, you know, probably, I don't know if it's a stigma towards like, well, you might not be able to get into it, or you might not be able to succeed in it, right? Is maybe that's where that lies. I don't think that's the case. I had a really good friend that I hired out of the Marines. He, his name was Newman, and still to this day, one of the most talented people I ever ran into. I do remember he ran into a little bit of like, he ran into some issues, and I'm not sure if it wasn't 100% somebody kind of not wanting them to move up or move forward. It wasn't under, I hired him, but the company I hired him at, that company was acquired by another company, and then he went to work for another manager, and like where he really thrived, we worked together really close and thrived really well and did an amazing job and was a producer. He didn't do well under this other dude for whatever reason, and like they essentially got rid of him. They kind of pushed him out, but because he was a military veteran, right? And he was very young, but I mean, because he was in the military, they kind of made it that they were just parting ways in a layoff type thing. But they came to me and they let him go, and we argued back and forth about like what was going on, but they never really told me. But there wasn't a lot of folks that were of color that worked there. Let's just say that. So I think that there was a little bit of something that played into it. He was demotivated. Let's just say that. Like he wasn't getting treated the same way, I don't think. So yeah, that's what I would tell you from one of my personal stories. Anywhere you go, I get it. Yeah, I mean, depends on where you live. I mean, if you live in the Pacific Northwest, it's definitely, you know, there's a higher percentage of in, you know, the breakdown of like Asian culture here, right? I mean, there's still everybody, but in general, it's definitely like a lot of white people. That's how it is, right? It's not meant to be that way, I don't think, but I think it just worked out that way. Go to the South, right? I mean, it's a little bit different. But in the games industry is not usually in the South. It's mainly along the California, like Washington coastline, East Coast, a lot of it in Europe, a lot of it in Asia Pacific, right? Kind of thing. That's where the games industry really has its like grip, right, on where they get talent. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody should be into it, right? Like the games industry is it's been tough though. I will say this. It's not been like amazing over the past 3 years, right? It's just really with all of the acquisitions by the major companies, it's not been fun. I don't think it has been. And it's really kind of changed. Where's this save? It's really changed the perception, I think, of a lot of people, especially kids, younger people coming into the industry. Like they're still full of like, I want to do this. This is what I'm built for kind of thing. But the opportunities become less of being, you're going to be employed full time and you're just going to end up being contractors, right? You're going to be contracted for whatever role your specialization is, but you're not going to have like this world of like, I guess we're just going to have to go with this save. You're not going to have this thing of like, oh, you work for Nintendo, because Nintendo may not hire people as much anymore, right? They may be just contracting because it's an easier way to get teams build up, spin up, get the games kicked out, and then that person goes on to work somewhere else. So I think people going into the games industry, regardless of anything, and it will have more impact on probably, you know, ethnic cultures, right? Like other folks. But everybody's going to have the realization of like, you're not going to work for a company. You're going to work for yourself or for a group that specializes and hires out, right? That type of role. You're not going to work for like the Nintendos and the Xboxes and the PlayStations. That's kind of going to be more of the common thing.
We lost a lot of men during the attack.
Yeah, the Microsoft shutdowns kind of suck. Any company that goes through that kind of sucks, right? But yeah, it's kind of the way the industry is. I mean, it's not. I think that there are individuals out there. Why can't I leave? I should be able to go out this way. There are individuals out there like organizations for, women in gaming, African American gamers, gaming developers. I mean, there's actually some things that you'll run into if you ever go to GDCs or the Game Developers Conference and stuff like that, where you see that they have their own coalition. Oh, there it is. Find the chaos. Oop, it's over here. Where you see that they have their own like organization that does get representation within like Steam, usually once a year, probably February, right? Like, because that's where everybody thinks that the only month that you can showcase African American content, right? Sometimes it's not that way, but I mean, like, it's almost like that month seems to be like, oh yeah, we'll do that month, and then we won't show it again. That's nothing against Steam or anybody, right? It's just, it's kind of the way it works right now. But I mean, like, they do showcase that games developed solely by African American teams or developers, designers, things like that, right? Which, it's a step in the right direction, but I think my kid would probably say, well, why do you even care what color people are, right? I think that's true. I think that's different, I think there'll be some different cultures or different generations that look at it in a different way. And it won't be as much of like, oh, it's got to be a special month or this or that. To sell Blizzard again? Yeah, Ben. That's... I think Blizzard's one of the only thing that has some money. All right, Silker. Have a good night. Take it easy. So you can see, I mean, this game does run. This is running at 60, but it will run like I said, 70, 80 frames per second. So, again, Diablo-esque style gameplay here. Some of these guys. Oh, that's okay, Rick. Man, I mean, to be quite honest, when it comes to the games industry, I'm very straightforward, and it might not be everybody's cup of tea to hear, like, all of the stuff, but yeah. That's why I don't really, that's why I'm not really employed in it any longer. Because people that I worked for didn't like to hear it either. It's tougher discussions, right? I'll get into even more deeper things. Like if you want to go into like talking about like, hey, people that come to the U.S. wanting to get into the games industry or wanting to work in industries and get their H-1Bs, they get screwed. They are literally slaves in that sense to companies, because that company is the only way you can get you're basically, you say you come here for college, you go to college, you want to get a job in the U.S., you want to stay in the U.S., you work for a company. If they're not an ethical company, you're kind of screwed, because they're the ones that pay, and they have to represent you. You'll basically be your sponsor, and they can treat you however they want, and you have nothing to say. And if they don't want to help you, you go back to the country that you started in. Right? And you may not want to go back there, because the chances are you may not have a job at the same level or be paid the same rate. So there's a lot of shitty things about business and industry, and that people never really talk about, and it sucks. I don't really like to go, this is not necessarily what the stream's for, but that's the reality. That's how companies are. They don't care. Companies don't care about people. They're companies, right? There might be good people that work within a company, but the companies don't care. It's a profit business. Their investors don't care. They're too far removed.
You'll never
they might be good people as well, you know. Oh, everybody likes to cover their ears. Nobody likes to address stuff like that. I mean, I saw it in the last job I worked in. It was really tough to see, right? When somebody, an excellent person that has so much skill, just got just treated horribly, right? In terms of like somebody that was a U.S. citizen, right? Not in their case, not super horribly, but like unfair, I think. But you could easily see how that slope can be very slippery.
You'll never take me like that! Hit me!
When they use it as leverage to like keep you doing like all the stuff nobody else wants to do, or like things that you're well overqualified for. That's kind of a crappy thing, right? Because somebody doesn't know how to deal with it as a manager.
Just strike the fatal blow.
All right, let's see. We'll keep going. Audio works the same. Yeah, Ben. Yeah, I can see it. Which is bad because you rely on it through the summer. Yeah, I mean, the best thing I would tell you to do is if you're really good, like go on Fiverr and see if you can connect with some, or reach out even to some indie devs. They're always looking for audio work.
Take me like that. Hit me.
You know, go to keymailer.co, lurk it, start checking out what games are sitting on there. They're still in the pre-alpha stage. You know, obviously put your stuff on LinkedIn. You know, the games industry, again, because they're more getting rid of like full-time positions and going contractors, they're more likely to deal with you on that and cut a deal and get some work. And I mean, there's nothing that can beat like going to game dev conference, meet to match sometimes makes sense. If you ever check out that website, they like do all the things for like the major game shows. Like they'll connect people between industry professionals looking for work, you know, even reach out to some of the work for hire shops. Maybe you can find some jobs there. Yeah, you know, I mean, that's a good point, man. I don't know if ignoring it, I mean, anything, like from the business perspective, the more they ignore, the longer they can push it off, the less they have to worry about it today, because that's a future problem for somebody else. Not necessarily the right way, obviously. I wouldn't say I'd ever agree with that, but like that's how a lot of corporations look at stuff. Like they're not going to do what's best. They'll just do what gets them by. Right. And like if they've got this internal conflict and they still have tons of projects going on and their bottom line still calling for it, they're not going to try to fix anything. They won't. They will just continue to do the wrong thing or the less effective thing. Right. That's usually how a lot of companies work. Not every company. I wouldn't put everybody as, it's not an absolute, but it's really similar. You would even do social media work? Yeah, I get you on that. I guess like you said for podcasts and stuff like that, right? That's the other thing that you work on. All right, I think we've seen performance on here. We can jump over to the Legion Go. Sorry, I know I got off onto a tangent. There we go. Let's see. We're going to switch out and jump over to the Legion Go. There we go. Just getting work in general is hard. It's I mean, I don't know. I'm not really a good financial expert in that way. But I would have to imagine like the people that I work for, you know, take jobs for, stuff like that. They know that inflation's really caused a problem across the board, so I could see that. This game looked bad. Oh, Chaosbane. Yeah, you know, it's a little bit older game. Oh, looking bored. Gotcha. It's like Diablo in that way, so it's an action RPG. So it's not the most exciting. If you haven't started, we just started kind of. I think it was a save. I want to say that was a save that I had going, because that was the same place that I had dropped into it. So we won't spend too much time on here. We'll just kind of show it at the 1080p resolution on the Legion Go. And then we'll jump to I think we'll jump into Skyrim next. Because that really, I was surprised. Like they kind of did a kind of a low under the radar update to Skyrim for the Steam Deck that actually took away like the launcher, the settings and stuff like that, and just kind of optimized it to play 60 frames per second. So it looks really good and it runs really well. It's an older game though, but like they took out some of they did kind of like what Fallout 4 did, where they got rid of that launcher aspect.
In an age of lawlessness and despair,
We'll just take a quick look at that. This, it'll be a minute or two.
Ruins, torn asunder by civil war.
There we go. Now on this one, I think, yeah, we should be able to run where we were running 720p. We'll be able to run 1080p on here. And I think we are on, outside of the 4K textures, I think we've got everything else enabled. Yeah. We're not limiting frames per second, so it's probably going to be higher than 60, but it will stay at 60 because of the capture card for it only supports 60 when you're streaming. We'll just jump straight in. You've been playing through Elden Ring? Nice. I've still got to go back because what, June, mid-June, late June? No, early June. Early June is when, is it early or mid-June? Either way, is when the DLC comes out. So I'm looking forward to checking that out, but I want to get back in and play a little bit of it. So maybe over the week, I don't know. It's going to depend. Some of these days, since I took this this kind of facilities ops job, they've been late, like running to 6 different locations all over the Seattle area. I was hanging a chandelier, putting up borders, like on the floor. I forget what else I was doing on Thursday. I think I got home at like 11. It was a late night. And then I got to paint like 3 different rooms, 3 different studios over the next 2 weeks, I think it is, so that folks can move in. These are for hairstylists, so I work in a totally different thing now. I just got out of it and just kind of took this social media gig, and then they said, hey, our maintenance guy, facilities guy quit, so I took that job too because I need the money. It's a totally different thing than what I used to do. It's okay. I like it. I don't mind working on buildings in my home and stuff like that. It's all fun. Oh, you bought the hardworking man? Yeah, it's nice to have work, man. When I left the last place, it was like, I'm done with the games industry. That's not probably 100% true. I'll probably freelance a little bit for some folks, but I don't really want to be there right now. The last place left a bad taste in my mouth. But yeah, it's different. I haven't done manual labor outside of my own stuff, right, for a long, long time. So I have a new appreciation for it again. Renewed appreciation, let's just say that. Oh, you work at Amazon warehouse. Nice. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Hopefully it's, is it because of I hope it's not because of the job. I would imagine, though, it's probably interesting to work for them as well. Every job has its thing. Just like Ben will probably tell us for the school systems, I'm sure. Yeah, it's just one of those things, man. Yeah, I've always appreciated it. When I was young, I did totally different things. And I got randomly into the games industry by kind of accident. I worked for a mobile phone company, and this is before mobile games were really a thing. And they were saying, like, who knows how to play games? I was much younger at this time. I was like 24. And I raised my hand at a sales meeting. And they're like, hey, okay, we're going to send you to London. So, yeah, I grew up in the middle of Ohio. I didn't know anything about the world beyond that. Oh, no. Dying. Okay, get me out of there. There's this one thing this guy has. He's got this, like, chain you can throw out, and you can kind of zip around. You can really bring the crowd. I don't think that was the smart idea, necessarily. Yeah, they kind of stunned me. Get out of here. But yeah, then that just led from one thing to another because mobile gaming actually picked up, right? I guess, in a way, went backwards. I started in mobile and I went to PC gaming because it's what I wanted to do. And then I finally went back to mobile and hated it. I still think, like, in my mind, mobile gaming is very predatory. I believe that 100% across, no matter what type of game you play. It's just very, I don't know, something about it. Corporate greed, predatory tactics and practices. It doesn't escape the PC or the console side either. That's still there as well. You know how to play games? Oh, yeah. Mobile gaming? Yeah, I know, man. Mobile gaming's massive, though. The amount of money that can be made there is just staggering. Like, just staggering. Because you have 5 billion players. Versus PC, you may have, I don't know, 100 million at the best. I don't even know if that's number is, it's that high. You do want to try Death Stranding? I played it. I mean, I don't know if the game is amazing. There's no doubt about it. Did you ever watch that video I have on the channel? It doesn't run at like 30 frames per second. And they do a lot of tricks to make that game run on the iPhone 15, but it is impressive. And in general, that's probably the future, right? Like, I would probably guess, like, even for Steam Deck, like, it's only got Steam Deck and Legion Go and all the PC stuff. It only has maybe 5 years before devs have switched over to iPhone and Android devices solely as like their way to do portable gaming, and it's PC games on there, or PC level games, right? I mean, in some ways, you look at Death Stranding, it's pretty close. I mean, there's some tricks that they do, but I mean, like, in general, it's pretty damn close, and it's the full game. It's pretty impressive that Kojima and his team were able to get that running as well as it does. I mean, same thing for the Resident Evil titles. There's some cool Capcom stuff as well. Beyond that, like Devil May Cry is another interesting game. Nobody talks about on mobile, but it's remnants of the, Devil May Cry series. It's the same thing. I like Death Stranding. I enjoyed it a lot, man. Like, if you ever get a chance, you should play through it. It's pretty impressive. Okay, we can see. I mean, this game's been running 66 frames. I think, again, it's being, like, held back by the card, but no issues on this one. So let's jump to Skyrim. We got to about the same area, so I just get to talking and that kind of slows it down. But let's see here. Let's jump over to let's close this out. Let's give, before we jump into Skyrim, let's give Hellblade 2 one more run on this. But I think there might be an issue with the actual, like, AMD integrated chipset and the drivers that, the official drivers that are being supported by Lenovo. I think that might be the issue here. It has a known issue to install the latest. Well, you know what? If it's a known issue and it's doing that, let's do this. Give me 1 second, then we'll jump right into Skyrim here. Oh, I'm sitting on top of it. 1 sec. Oh, there's that weird audio thing now. It's just popping back up. Let me close this out. We'll let this download. We're going to try the latest drivers. These aren't the supported drivers for the device, but we'll go ahead and give that a try. We'll let it download, and we'll come back to it. So this is Steam Deck now. Okay, whoops. Wrong button. Skyrim. Let's jump into that. So this is the Steam Deck running it. We're letting the Legion Go kind of do its thing. But you don't have to do anything specific with Skyrim now. So there's no tricks or anything. Again, that launcher's gone. It's going to just roll straight into the game. Reminds you of the old days? Yeah, where we used to talk about the games industry and everything. You bet Death Stranding 2 will be on. I bet a lot of games will be on Nintendo Switch too. I imagine that'll be a fairly powerful handheld / whatever you call it, right? Like where it connects to the TV. I don't know if it'll do 4K though. I think Nintendo's a little worried about that. I mean, I would be surprised if it didn't, but I don't know 100% if they really want to do a 4K machine. They're going to have to though. Can't see it being where they don't do that. So as you can see here, there's no way to adjust settings. It's just basically you're getting the best set of anything for Skyrim right now. So we'll jump in and we'll just start where I left off. Do you ever play in desktop mode? No, I don't. Oh, you mean with the Legion Go or with the Switch? With the Switch, I never do. I always play handheld. You know, obviously, I know you said you want to get the Legion Go, which is a great device. Don't let me dissuade you from any of these. But I do like the Legion Go device. I think it's a cool little unit. It's probably it's the best Windows-driven one so far. It plays extremely well. But I do play the Legion Go here and there on, you know, kind of like a docked mode. When I used to do some, I don't know if you'd seen those on the channel, but I did some like direct capture videos of like playthroughs that I was putting up for like, I think it was Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. And that, when I was doing those, I was using the Legion Go to actually play the device. I was using a different device, a little pocket thing that I carry around that can record 1080p without a PC or anything. So I would sit there and I played, I don't know, 30 hours into Infinite Wealth like that. And yeah, the Legion Go runs just great, but I really have never done that with the Switch. You want to play Flight Simulator? We should try it one time. I haven't tried it. See how it runs. I have not had a chance to check it out. Final Fantasy VII Remake runs really well on the Steam Deck. Ben. Oh, there's the cats. What are they? The Khajiit. Jeez, couldn't remember. So yeah, you can see, I mean, this is the open world. We're getting between like, it does like bounce a little bit down to like 57, 58, 60. But then it bounces like up above, like 62, 63. It just won't show it on here necessarily as well. But I was just a guy leading these folks. I was kind of hoping the dragon would attack, so we could kind of see what that looks like. Does it? Yeah, it does. I think when you're talking about ports for the PC side, I think it's, what you can graphically get it to do, but because the Steam Deck runs at a lower frame rate or, is lower power, lower everything, it's not trying to do 4K. It's not trying to do like all the different special things that you can do with a big beefy PC, right? Like all your amazing not upscalers, but like, all the levels of shading and all of that stuff. Like you can do ultimate shading and have ray tracing and all that. Steam Deck could never do ray tracing, even though they say, oh, it's capable. It's maybe capable at 20 frames per second for a low-end game, but it's not capable of running like Cyberpunk with ray tracing. So, but I mean, for what it does, yeah, the Final Fantasy VII Remake port runs great. Let's see. Being able to take it with you. Oh, I almost jumped on the spikes. I was going to go up here and see if we can get into a fight. I think these guys are hostile. Yep, there we go. Yeah, got blocked. God, I remember doing this. I used to wear that silly hat that looked like what that guy had on Twitch. Oh, come on. Dude, swing. Why is he swinging at me? I don't think I even have magic. I think I built like just a guy that was... Oh no, he's dying. He's going. Come on. There we go, he's dead. 60s, right? Even when you're that close and personal. Let's see if we can get out of here. Oh, there's another. I'm gonna die. That's okay. Ooh, we can go ahead and die now. But yeah, you can see. I mean, it runs. It's really well designed now. I mean, they basically have it to where it's like, set it, forget it, turn it on. That's it. 60 frames per second, pretty much. Yeah, I will, Reek. I'll throw it in there. Let's see. Rebirth. Oh, you really enjoyed it. So I picked it up, got a little ways into it, actually a good ways. I was doing some recording stuff on it, but then there was just so many different games that fell off of the list, right? Let's see if we can check out another area. I think we can use the carriage, or do I have to talk to the guy too? I think I have a mod on here. So this is like one of the Skyrim mods, is this carriage taxi system. So you can run mods. Yeah, I'd like to hire him. Do I have any money? I don't know if I have money or not. Where do we want to go check out? Solitude? Let's go to Solitude. There we go. Yeah, the goofy hat. This year's the year of playing backlog. I need to do that. That's probably a very good idea. I have a backlog that's longer than my lifespan, is my guess. Let's walk up here. There's the Khajiit are already here again. Man, they're quick. Yeah, you like it that much? Reload. It's a good game. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Persona fan, but I know a lot of people like it.
You betrayed us.
Get on with it!
You should tell her that her uncle is scum.
Tactics. Oh, you're playing Tactics Ogre this year, Reek? Nice. It's not looking good for you, though. Oh, they're going to kill this guy. That's right. I think they kill him regardless if I try to save him or not. Here, we'll leave this. We'll leave them to their own little thing. But yeah, I mean, the game overall, like a little bit lower in the town here. Not too bad. I think we can jump over to... Let's see how the Legion Go is going. But yeah, I mean, if anybody's looking to buy Skyrim and they haven't bought it already, on the Steam Deck, the game is amazing now. And it actually runs at about 24, 25. So you're probably going to get about 2.5 hours playing it. Maybe 2.5 hours, something like that. I had Tactics Ogre on the PlayStation 1 because I think you're playing the remake version or whatever it is on PC. But yeah, I mean, all of those tactic games are nice and complex. There was Final Fantasy Tactics on the PS1 like a long time ago. Game Boy Advance maybe as well. Yeah, Skyrim looks great. I mean, it runs really well. No issues with this game on here. And they're all on sale right now, I think, on Steam. I think they were doing the Steam sale, like 70% off or something like that. So it's not a bad deal if you're looking to get into that franchise. If you've never played it, right, and you want to play it on a portable machine, it's good. Okay, let's see how the Legion Go is going. Oh, look at this. It's like, hey, you need to sign in. Let me see if I can do that with the QR code thing. I don't know why it signed me out. Maybe there was a game still running when I started the other game up. That could have been it. I bet that might be it. That was probably the thing that got me. Steam likes to nick you on that stuff. Let's see. So that downloaded. Let's see if we can install those, update those drivers really fast on this. We might have to play another game on the Steam Deck while this does this. I'm not 100% sure. What is it doing? Is it trying to... I think it's just installing a program to then look at like what drivers are available and it's going to auto download them. You're playing through Gotham Knight and you like it? Yeah, I mean, I don't know which is better, right, in that sense. I think that any of the games on the Arkham series are amazing. I know that Arkham Knight had like some bugs and issues and stuff like that, but I don't think they exist anymore. I think they fixed a lot of that. Oh, Hellblade's still open. That's what it is. That's what nicked me on it. Good catch, Vin. That's what it was. Yep. That was the thing that got me. I forgot that it was still open. I think all of the Arkham series, though, were great. Gotham Knights and Tulio. So thank you for subscribing. Welcome. It's nice to get everybody coming in, stopping in, new folks. Appreciate everybody for hanging out. But I think like Gotham Knight and like obviously Suicide Squad have really changed the way that Rocksteady... I don't even know where Rocksteady sits now. I wouldn't be surprised if they get closed down. Unfortunately. Just the way the industry's been going. But like Rocksteady, I mean, the three Arkham games are amazing. Even I don't think Rocksteady did Arkham VR. But even that, for a VR experience, you know, for the time and like it was so new on like the PlayStation for the PS4 VR, PSVR 1 or whatever. That was an amazing game. It was really cool. But then, yeah, Gotham Knights really kind of like started to not do so great. And it was so crappy in terms of like optimization. And then like Suicide Squad, I don't know, people just, I've never played it yet, but everything I read, everything I've seen, like the whole way they designed the game is not what people were looking for with that franchise, or that for that team to do. Character suits, weapons, vehicles, yeah, they do look really good in Gotham Knights. They do. I mean, it didn't run that well on. I know it had issues on my old PC, which was a 2080, because that's what I was playing it on, and it didn't run well on the Steam Deck at all. Like the first iteration of it. Like it runs a little bit better now, but I know that there was a lot of issues with it. Are bad because, but you're just, I think it was like the initial reviews, right? I don't think it has so many bugs and all that stuff. Like what I played of Gotham Knight, I had a pretty good time with it. Obviously I knew it wasn't running great on the Steam Deck, but like I said, I think in other streams, it was never, I don't think there's many developers that look and go like, hey, I'm going to develop for Steam Deck. They just don't do that. Like they get enough feedback from fans and they can see, like within Steam, if you're a developer or publisher, you can see exactly what device and, you know, what like graphics card is the biggest that's playing your game, right? That's easily accessible. And if you ever get that on your Steam Deck or on your, like your Steam console, it says, hey, we'd like to ask you and take a survey of your machine and send that to Valve. That's what it's all pulling that information for. And they make that readily available for developers and publishers. So that's where they kind of see like, oh, well, the Steam Deck's getting, you know, some traction. So yeah, we probably should like make sure that thing's optimized and make sure it's the best that it can be for it. What do we need here for this? We need, I guess it's just going to try to install everything. Oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens here. Okay, let's jump over to the Steam Deck and play a different game while this thing does its installation. Because that might take us a bit. What did we play so far? We played Senua Saga, we played, or Senua Saga, Senua, Chaosbane, Skyrim. Let's do, we're talking about Batman right now. Let's jump into Batman Arkham City. And we're basically going to have to go through the round robin of this again for the Legion Go. But we will, we'll give it a shot. I really wish they did, because let's be real, the average person working multiple jobs is on the go. I agree. And you know, what I would say to that is when they do see that, I think you see the optimization done fairly quickly, like usually within a week they do, but they don't build for that first. I often thought they might, but it's just not a big enough audience yet. You know, the Steam Deck at the best, and I'll probably be gracious in saying this, is about 5 million units. Maybe a little bit more, but I'm still thinking I'm a little bit above. And that's a small amount, but it's a dedicated base. Like if you do the research on YouTube, like a lot of people will research and want to know about Steam Deck, right? It's like one of the most searched topics in gaming. So, you know, I think there's an advantage for a developer to get in on it early or to have that support like right out of the gate, to your point. But I also think like if you're talking to an indie studio, they're like, man, we're just trying to get our game out the door on whatever it'll run on. So, you know, we kind of take, they don't even use a reference device. So it's not like, say 9% is the highest percentage of graphics cards on Steam. And that graphics card is a 3060. I don't even know if they're looking at that. Like they're going to look even lower than that so they can optimize for everybody, you know, over the last 10 years. Let's try a different Batman suit. I haven't messed around with these too much. We got Batman Inc. We got 1970. Let's do the 70s guy. Yeah, Valve did a really good job. They actually like created. I mean, it was a disruptive. Not to use too many, hot words or whatever you call it, like key topics or industry words, but like it was definitely a disruptive move on Valve's part to put that out. They changed a lot of the way people see PC gaming and the community that's involved in PC gaming. And we're playing as Catwoman right now. We're a little bit further into the story. There we go. But yeah, I mean, we're playing on the Steam Deck right now, 60 frames, no problem. I don't even know if this game is. I think it says playable, so I'm not quite sure what the issue is. It could be like the text, or it could be because you have to like set it and it doesn't default to 1280 by 800, something like that, right? But I mean, overall, this game plays nice and smooth, right? Like, and even to today, like the graphics in the game look amazing. Like the city looks good, right? They opened it up. It's kind of an open world game. It does an amazing job. See if we can do some fighting. We'll do a takedown. There we go. Yep. You have to do two podcasts tomorrow. Well, hey man, it's work, right? Are they like long? Are they already recorded, and you're just doing like the audio work on them, or is this something you've got to be on their show and help them do the work, help them do the recording? Let's see if we can get a. We might have to get away. Oh, we died. I wasn't even ready.
Time to die, kitty cat.
This is the same universe as... I don't think it is. I don't think so. I believe that it is different. Arkham is a different universe. Well, different... It's all under Batman, right? But it's a different universe than like what Gotham Knight and Suicide Squad are in. Multiverse, whatever in the hell. I don't know. I'm pretty sure, but I might be wrong on the Gotham Knight one. But I'm pretty sure it's not the same as because Batman's dead in Gotham Knight, and he can't be alive in Suicide Squad, right? Kind of thing. You host the show. Oh, very cool, man. You have to put those in chat. I was going to say, do I have my... Do I have to fight this guy? Yeah, sure. We'll just fight everybody. There we go. It's funny. We picked the Batman, but yet we can't see what 1970s Batman looks like. Oh, there's the Riddler place. Let's go over there real fast. Oop, there we go. Did you play Fort Solis? No, I don't think so, Reek. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, she made it. Can I get in here? She can just grab hold of anything, though. That's the cool thing about Catwoman. Or, Catwoman, right? Yeah. She's a bad guy, but kind of like the bad guy that's a good guy in weird ways. Like Ada Wong. Oh wait, there's another one of those things. I like start playing these games. I love these games though. I love the Arkham series. And they look amazing. Like I said, still to this day, these games are very playable. And especially on this device. You know, you can take it wherever you want. What's it using in terms of battery? Like 20%? 18 watts. You know, you can probably expect to play for 2.5, 3 hours. Okay, I didn't even know who I was. Isn't there a takedown move? a bunch of people. Actually, no. Let's. Oh, kick me in the ass. I actually wanted to fight a group because I love the fighting in Arkham. The like dance, I don't know, acrobatic dance that you can do. How easy it is to fight multiple. Well, not that easy. I guess I died. All right, let's go ahead and jump to see how the Legion Go is going, and then we'll come back if we have to jump to a next game on here. But yeah, this game plays super smooth. The cool part about your wrestling podcast is you own the show outright. Oh, very nice. Yeah, very cool, man. That's the kind of thing to do. Now, is it like mainstream, like wrestling, like you're talking about like WWE stuff, or is it like more local, or is it AEW? Is it like everything, even like UFC? We're gonna have to restart, so we might as well go to our next game on the Steam Deck. Let's see. We've done 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's our 5th game? Shadow of War. Middle-earth. Shadow of War. Another game franchise. So similarly, right, we're seeing a very similar performance level. I see the Legion Go. Actually, I might have the Legion Go unplugged, and I don't have to kind of bounce back and forth. You lost interest in UFC, but AEW and WWE. That's cool, man. How many people do you have on that? Is it just you and other folks? Do you bring in guests, stuff like that? All right. I'm just going to test it. I'm messing with the Legion Go as we're looking at the Steam Deck here. Once the Legion Go is up and running, I should have been doing this from the beginning. It could have made it faster. But once the Legion Go is up and running, we'll jump over to that and we'll kind of take a look at these. I like going back and forth, but yeah, there's not much you can do when it's having an issue with the chipset drivers. I won't be able to start the game, but it looks like everything's installed. Oh, very nice, man. Yeah, no, that's cool. It's a fun thing, right? Like something, so is it like weekly? Do you guys do it weekly? If you have those, just drop it in the link in chat. You should be able to link something. If not, we can figure it out. WrestleMania weekend was a massive time for us. Oh, that's cool. Do you ever have any of the wrestlers on? Let's see. I think we're HDR is enabled. Let's see if we can turn that off. Yeah, I can see why this game isn't probably, if it's not verified, I can see why it probably would just be playable, because like some of that text is really hard to read. Super hard. Update notice. Okay. That's probably an old. I doubt they do any work on this game anymore. You wish we had that kind of access? Yeah. I get you. Vertical sync. Game brightness. Is that where? I can't turn HDR on or off, so I guess maybe it's not on right now. Yeah, I can crank the brightness up like super high, but I don't see any difference. So let's just back out and let's just jump into the game. So pretty much everything is set to like auto configure low. So let's see what we do, and then maybe we'll bump it up. But you can see it's not taking too much of any of the memory, so it's an older game. I wouldn't think it's going to be so demanding. Actually, we could just run the benchmark. Let's see what the benchmark does for us. You have friends in the industry, but you can't get wrestlers. Yeah, I gotcha. I actually, funny enough, I had a guy that worked for me at the last publisher job that I had. And I had hired him. He was older than I was, but such a great dude. And like he worked for WWE for years and then went to, so he actually worked for Vince McMahon. And then he went to work in the games industry as a producer for games. So he was actually doing producing. They got into the biz dev side, but like he actually, I don't know if you ever saw that wrestling game. Oh, I can't think of the name of it. It had the Road Warriors in it. I'll have to look it up. I can't think of the name of the... It's from an indie developer. Let's see. Retromania Wrestling. So Retromania Wrestling was on PC and consoles. And he actually was the licensing guy for that. He went and reached out to like Road Warrior, like only one of them's alive, I think now. But he had reached out to them, got their licensing rights. I forget who else was in there, but there was like a lot, right? And he went and did all of those. So it was fantastic to talk to him about wrestling stuff. Just so interesting, right? Totally different world. He was a business dude doing this. So yeah, totally unique. Really nice guy. Had a great time talking with him. He told some stories about Vince McMahon that were crazy. AEW is frustrating. That's the guy, he's billionaire, right? That owns that one. Like his dad's a billionaire and he, Tommy Khan or something like that,
A wife
This is beautiful.
and a son. And I buried them along with everyone I even knew.
The only guy I've watched in this is like Dan Alson. I think he's pretty funny. I like his YouTube channel as well.
Am I dead? You're banished from death. Cast adrift.
I could always share his contact. You could definitely Tony Khan. Yeah, that's him. You definitely reach out to Mike. I can give you I don't know if he'd talk much about it, but he was just hanging out at Game Developers Conference bringing it up. But him and his buddies, he's got like 2 or 3 other buddies that all work there at the same time. And they've all got stories of like Vince McMahon and they were telling them because one of his buddies is also in the games industry. And we were at the W Hotel one evening having some drinks and they started into like the old stories of like WWE and WWF because I think they worked there when it was WWF and then it was transitioning to WWE. So this would have been like late 90s because they were, like I said, older than I am. And yeah, they had some really interesting stories. Just 2 totally different guys that are probably not known to the rest of the world in the wrestling industry, but they had like the inside info. They were at like Connecticut or whatever. Like what was the Bridgeport, Connecticut or Hartford, Connecticut, right? That's where WWE was based.
The world of men is ending. I have seen it. I have felt it. In the fires of Mount Doom.
All right, let's see if we can skip through this a little bit because we're running about 60 on the cutscenes.
I will find you.
There we go.
Come, Talion. Free me.
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, it's like anything else, right? Like if you're very interested in it, you're going to find out like all the details, right? No, I don't think anybody's dumb, man. I think it's just really funny. People enjoy their stuff so much. Okay, we're gonna try to kill this guy. Sneak up on him. There we go. It's a really dark game, though. Let me see if I can turn up the the brightness on this thing because I can barely see what's happening in this one too. HDR has to be on somehow. Display, game brightness. But I can't turn it off. So this could be one of those ones where like, you're kind of screwed. But let's just try cranking up the bright. It's going to be very bright maybe. Maybe a little too bright. No, that's better. We can at least see it now. But yeah, 60 frames per second.
These orcs are preparing for war. There's been a murder here.
Yeah, all these these are all games from like the PS3, right? PS3, Xbox 360, they're all going to run just fine. Yeah, you know it's fake. Of course you know it's fake. But don't ever say that to, who was it? Oh God, what was his name? Sid? Like he's the one that like just slapped Geraldo, like knocked his block off his head and said, was that fake? Sid Vicious, wasn't it? Not Sid Vicious, but what was his name in the wrestling world? Psycho Sid, that was him. He's crazy or whatever. I just remember watching that video. Just knocked Geraldo for like a loop, man. Just smacked him in the head.
We must defeat her.
This was PS4 only, was it? I thought it was PS3 as well. The PS4, okay. Oh, can I make it? Yeah. So yeah, we can, I mean, yes, we're inside. We're not outside in the open world kind of area, but I bet this is running probably 60 in the open world as well. I don't think we can get out of here. I don't think I have another save. I don't believe I do. Options. No, I don't think I do. Let's quit out and let's just see. So start. Yeah, that's the only save that I have. I don't even have a save. Realistically, it's just the beginning of the game. Oh, yeah. You need the competition kind of thing. I mean, it was, I mean, growing up, well, not growing up, I was a little bit older, but I mean, like, when I was in my 20s, like, watching, like, WCW and WWE, it was pretty amazing, right? To see, like, two equally, I mean, I knew WW or WCW or whatever was larger, but, I mean, to see, like, two equal, fairly sized companies, right, with capabilities, that was pretty impressive. Okay, let's run. So now we're kind of in an open area. Yeah, 60s. Oh, she's got magic too. I'll have to get back into playing. It's been a while since I've seen this game. Let's just take some fighting to this guy. There we go. It's a little bit bright because I've turned off as much as I could. I don't know if you'll get so much complacency with him. I don't watch it that at all, but I mean, like, I think, like, if you have truly, like, a wrestler in there, right, to kind of, that has been through it all, that knows stories and all that, that knows how to really gain the crowd's attention, I would have to think, like, he would take it a totally different way or different direction. It's the Attitude Era was all I ever watched, yeah. I would have to think that would be pretty good. Now, I don't know any of the characters other than, like, Danhausen, like I said. And, of course, the older ones that come around probably when they need somebody to show up and like The Rock or whatever, right? And make some kind of big blowout at like WrestleMania. Yeah, this is running pretty solid. So we can go ahead and call this good. Let me jump out of here. Let's see how this Legion Go is doing. Let's see if it's gonna finally run what we need. Oh, I need to get out of this game. Let me do just one quick test. I'm just gonna get out of here. We're gonna test. Well, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna plug it in, and we're gonna test Senua's Saga right now. Well, that's not really that shocking anymore, I would think. to just blurt, you know, obscenities on national TV. I don't think that's a big deal. Doesn't seem like it. Let's see. Let's jump in and see how this runs. See if it will run. Now, this is the Legion Go. See, it's still throwing that same error. I don't know. We'll see. I thought that it did the update. For The Rock to say, yeah, he's kind of like a, what would you say, like a family-friendly persona. That's a good point, I guess. I guess I hadn't watched it in a long time. Babyface, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Especially because of his movie careers and all of that, too. His persona in the public is pretty untarnished. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We're just going to try to continue, and we'll see if this runs. So if this does run, you have to go in and update all of your drivers beyond the drivers of the Legion Go standards. I still don't think it's going to run, though. This AMD integrated chipset causes some issues. And again, as we were saying, if I was pointing out that, hey, not every developer sees the Steam Deck as a big enough device to support now, the Legion Go is far tinier, right? So like if there's an issue that is specific to this, it's going to have to be addressed by like AMD, and AMD is going to get around to it whenever. I mean, Legion Go could probably force their hand, but yeah, it looks like without more tweaking, you know, Senua Saga Hellblade 2 does not run out just off the download. You have to go in and do even more. I'll try to get it running for a real view video and see if we can get an idea of how to get it running. But yeah, for some weird reason, it is not letting me do this. So let me get out of here. Yeah, it's dead. It's kind of froze again. Such a shame, man. Such a weird thing. I'm going to try to force close it. Let me go back to Steam Deck. It does not run. And now it's like not letting go either. So I'm going to have to shut this down. It's even worse now. Let's just say that. It didn't get better. It got worse. Okay. Let's we'll shut that down. And let me find the right controller. Oh, it was that good? So it's actually, it's not like the product's not good. It's just they hit like certain times where they really do well, and then certain other times, this was probably like the best time for it so far. And then we will jump to whatever we can pick up on the Legion Go. The Legion Go has not been performing well tonight. Just that one game originally. We'll take a look at like the other ones in quick succession. I'm having to start it back up. Yeah. I've had other issues recently with certain games. like Ghost of Tsushima, that one does not run on my 4090 for whatever reason. It just freezes. It just freezes the whole PC, and you got to shut the whole thing down on boot. Boot up of the game. Since Triple H took over, it's been great. Well, that's good. That's amazing. I mean, it's amazing to see that one individual makes that big of a difference. But I kind of guess like that's how pretty much the industry has been for a long time, because I mean, there's big people that carry it. There was always what's his name? There were the two writers that have really carried wrestling for a long time. Well, they had when I was watching it. Eric Bischoff, obviously. And then there was that one guy, I can't remember his name, in like the Attitude Era on WWE. I can't remember it. He had like a beard. I can't remember his name. Vince Russo. Yes. Yeah, Vince. Yep. That was him. All right, let's see if we can get Darktide to run. Now Darktide's freezing. I didn't get a chance. I've played Darktide on these. I've done videos on them, but I can't remember if I did it on the Steam Deck. And because this tied, I didn't have much time to do testing on this one. So it may not run on the Steam Deck at all. Or it might be in the background. Hold on. Let's just see. It looks like it's not running, but we may have to switch our Proton to run this. Like, you've met both guys multiple times. It's a sweetheart. Eric's a jerk. I can imagine like Eric being a jerk, because he seemed like that when he did his shows. But personally, I would never have met these guys. But that's cool, being able to kind of meet the people that like write the story, that write the different character stories, all of that stuff. Yeah, but I remember Russo. Like, I remember he was a big contributor to a lot of it at one point. But Bischoff, yeah, I remember he was really wanting to be on TV constantly. I remember Vince Russo was on TV for a while there as well. Oh, wow, that's very cool. Man, that's amazing to get. I mean, it's pretty good to get like people that were on, national TV to kind of jump on the show and talk about it. I mean, I think wrestling is probably a little bit different, right? Like some of the folks just want to share their stories, and they have fun excerpts from, things that they've done. Yeah, this isn't going to run out thing. Okay. Let's call the Steam Deck good then. We've had to do this a little bit different than the show normally runs, because we've had some issues with the Legion Go, but I don't think Darktide is going to run. It probably could run if we could get it and run it. If we would go into the Linux side and run it from there, the desktop side. But I'm not going to do that for the show, because again, the show is more about like, hey, if I buy a game, does it run? And obviously these games just don't run right off the bat. So you got to know, like, well, you're going to have to do work to get these things up and running. So let's jump back into the Legion Go. So Senua Saga will not run on the Legion Go without some way of getting it past that AMD chipset issue, which I updated to the most current version. It didn't do it. So there's something else that's going on with it. But let's we'll go back into the big picture mode, because that's how I run it. to get games launched on the Legion Go. You could do just normal Steam Deck or Steam interface, but I kind of like having the big picture mode to kind of compete with the look and the feel, right? So we also did Chaosbane. Let's jump in and do Batman. We'll just run it. Now this is going to be a 1080p, so it's going to be a little bit higher resolution than the Steam Deck was, but should run exactly the same, like well into the 60 frames per second, maybe even higher. No issues. Frustrating thing for you is wrestling media is so agenda driven. It's really gross. Gotcha. Because everyone you go to for an interview assumes you have an agenda. I could see that. It's like the trolling community or something like that, right? Like nobody trusts anybody. That's the problem. But I'm sure like people have written some really kind of crappy things, right? Because there's always something wrong with the industry, whether it's health-wise or how the athletes are treated or how they get paid or the layoffs or the groups that are essentially being disbanded or, the ones that are like seeing success, or then you've even got the executives that cause controversy, right? Did you watch the Al Snow Netflix special? Was it Netflix? I think it was. I forget what the name of the show was. I was always a big Al Snow fan. I always thought he was funny. So I watched that. That was excellent. I think it's for the Ohio Valley Wrestling Association. If I'm not mistaken, it might not have been Ohio Valley. It might have been like I can't remember, like Southern. I forget where they were at. It was very interesting. Super interesting. I enjoyed all of that. Yeah, I would watch it, man. That's a really interesting, like how hard it is to do something that's not mainstream. My God. You met him twice? That's cool, man. I don't think it really matters what Batman we pick. We're still going to be on Catwoman. OVW in Kentucky. That's it. That was it. Yeah. Yeah, that was a very good show and really just talked about like all the stresses they have to go through just to keep that thing afloat. Like, I remember I was kind of like the Ohio Valley Wrestling Association. I think they were the same way. But I think they're ultimately, this goes back a long way. I think they're ultimately like sponsored by the WWE or something like that. Or they did get funding from them to run some of their training because they pull wrestlers out of it to go into the bigger league kind of thing. I can't remember how it worked, but when I was young, like in my early 20s and worked up in Cleveland, we would go see a lot of their shows. We never really saw a lot of WWE shows. We saw a lot of or WWF at that time, I think it was. We saw a lot of, we don't even have the metrics up on the screen. Give me one sec here. Let me pull that up. There it is. Now it's up there. We saw a lot of what was it? Like Ohio Valley shows, and then for like the local things, like in I don't know, like high school basketball arenas. And then the other one we'd go see was at the Agora, and it was ECW. We were just all big fans of ECW. Get that off. Paul Heyman, but still one of my favorite wrestlers was Steve Corino. I still think he could have made it onto the big leagues, like onto the like in WWF, WWE at the time. He had mic skills that were pretty amazing. But at that time, they had like The Rock, they had Mankind, they had like enough stars. I don't think they were looking for like the next guy to bring up, especially from ECW. So I think he went to All Japan. Oh, does he? Yeah, he was amazing. Like, I think I saw one of his first matches at ECW. Yeah, this is... I heard that. I heard that he, like, wasn't it at the WWE he got, at WrestleMania, I mean, didn't he just get, like, inducted into the Hall of Fame thing? And it was, because it was in Philadelphia, right? Like, it was a big deal because he's from Philly, like ECW was, right? Yes, she's here. I'll try to take these guys out and not get... Nope, she killed him. She was killed. But you can see 60 frames per second, no issues. Again, these are older games. They're not going to be really too hard to do. And since we're running behind, let's go ahead and jump out. We'll jump to the next one. The greatest induction speech ever. That's cool. Yeah. It's funny how they write themselves, because he was supposed to be like this really bad guy to work for, but like I believe he like was the only thing that kept a lot of those guys fed back in the ECW days. Oh God, some of the stuff they would do. Like, you couldn't ask anybody that has like the top health insurance plan in the world to do what some of these guys were doing. They had nothing. Like New Jack, I watched the guy jump off of like a second-story balcony in the Agora in Cleveland, which I'm sure is like loaded with like nails sticking out of the floor anyhow, and landing on a table and like onto his neck, and they had to like get him out of there and take him to the hospital. Like, that dude didn't have insurance. I highly doubt that. I mean, probably I would imagine like Heyman paid for his hospital bill in cash, right? Like from the event. Let's see. Options. We'll take a look. We'll take a quick look at these. Again, this game's going to run just fine. I heard that there was like a Dark Side of the Ring for him. Yeah. Pretty rough. Display adapters. Yeah, 1080p. I don't think there's really... It's probably going to all be set to medium, high. Okay, did it auto configure? It did. Yeah, it did an auto config on this. So let's go ahead and back out. Let's do the benchmark just to see, like we did on the other one. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of those Dark Side of the Ring left, right? Like they've only done so many. Soccer, baseball, and wrestling now. God, you're rooting for the Twins. You can't be rooting for the Mariners. Nobody does, not even the people in Seattle. You wait until a streamer covers it. Yeah, it makes sense. So we're on medium settings, which looks far better than the other one. We're getting into the 50s. It's like averaging 50s. Twins make you mad. Like the Mariners do for us. It's worse here, though. I still think like the Mariners are in the Seattle is just the most ridiculous sports owners in the world. They all banded with that Root Sports. So living in Seattle, you can't watch anything on the internet. And who the hell has like cable TV anymore? I just don't understand. Like they make everything so expensive. You can't go see a game. And then you can't watch them on TV or on the internet because MLB can't run them if you're local here because of Root Sports, which is a ridiculous company. Just the worst scenario. I don't even know how they have fans anymore. Let's see. Let's skip this. Now this looks much better. Like this is without HDR at all. The lighting looks far better because we didn't have to boost the brightness. And the fidelity is far better at 1080p with that medium settings. And we're still hitting 60. Oh, there's some 50s. I don't know. I'd definitely for this game. I mean, this game, I think we all played it at 30 frames per second because it was on console, majority of players.
You've been injured. My light will heal you.
Oh, that Apple deal. Yeah. I don't either. MLS. Yeah, they've really been on board with that for a while. Even T-Mobile does something with the MLS too. They gave away like, I think it was last year, not this year, last year. Like they gave away like a free Apple, whatever. It was probably in conjunction with Apple and the MLS. And you got like free MLS premium with T-Mobile. It was cool. I mean, just like MLB's cool every year, but MLB would only be useful for somebody that doesn't live in Seattle because you can't really take advantage of it fully.
What was that noise?
Yeah, this. I could see playing this one. This one looks a lot better on here. That's the advantage of this Legion Go. It does have a little bit more power. It can just do so much more. Boy, it's dark though in some areas. Ooh, let's get out of here. Disengage. Disengage. Run. She won't run. She's stuck in fighting mode. There we go. I had to figure out what's fighting. Just run away. Run away. Okay. Got away. But yeah, 50s, 60s, somewhere in between there. I mean, if you dropped it down to 1280 by 7 or 1280 by 800, it would obviously play just fine. No second hat 3-1. No kidding. It wasn't attached to Apple. What do you use? Are you an Android user? So that way you're kind of screwed when it comes to the MLS service. Yeah, this is playing just fine.
This feels very familiar.
Looks good. Okay, let's jump to the next game, which I think we'll jump to Darktide. There we go. I do want to show that Morbid though. That one's kind of a cool game, so we'll show that. Maybe we'll show it on the Legion Go. Why can't I exit out of this thing though? Oh, weird. It jumped over the quit desktop and went to something else. You have an iPhone, but the app for it is isn't dedicated, so it just makes MLS. Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, there's some weird things with the MLB one too. I don't know if it's an iPhone or an Android type issue. I do know when I'm using the MLB and I want to like use it in the car, because I usually listen to baseball throughout the day when I'm doing like the maintenance stuff or in the evenings or whatever. And like I'll plug it into the Jeep and it's got Apple CarPlay built into it. I don't know. I don't have an Android. I'd try it on there as well, but it like won't recognize that you're a member. So you have to like do like a refresh and you got to relog in and then you kind of go in and it's just like cumbersome. It shouldn't be that way to get it to like run and to like work the way it should. Right. So there's all sorts of things. And then finding a game is really weird. The way they lay it out. You know, I mean, it's one of those things where it's really their developer. But yeah, they could actually make a better, they could like yell at the developer and say, hey, we need a better user interface. That's for sure. Let's see, 1080p. This looks really weird though. It says it's full screen. Oh, we're in some kind of like launcher, aren't we? Low quality 1080p. We'll try it there. Let's just see how well it runs. I think we've got Skyrim left to look at. And then after that, we'll take a look at Morbid and call it a night for everybody to have the rest of their weekend. Are you doing anything with family and all that, Ben, for the Memorial Day weekend, or just doing anything in general? Obviously, podcasts. Yeah, some games bother me at low. Not all the games you have to play at low, but it's like you kind of try, test it out, see what happens. Yeah, max everything. Yeah, these ones can't handle max for sure. Some games they can, but not, you know, the portable devices can handle it in some cases. Like we were playing Batman. We could have probably increased everything, but I mean, it looked really good. Mordor or Shadows or Middle-earth Shadow of War. That one looked much better with it on medium high than on the low. You could definitely tell, like when we had to play it on low on the Steam Deck, because it just didn't have enough power, that it didn't, like, your view distance and all that was kind of crappy.
Millennium.
There we go. Darktide. Let's see. Other than that, no. Oh, okay. So there's actually a bigger show going on tomorrow, so you guys are going to be heading up that. That's cool. How do people find your podcast? Is it just like on Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts or whatever? Or do you do it on like Twitch? Is it on your channel? So let's see. Let's just go with my existing character here. On YouTube right now. Okay. Oh, part of the network deal. Gotcha. Okay. What's the network then? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's still loading. It's like, why isn't it going forward? I'm hitting next. But it's just like letting us read new stories. Got something in my eye. Burns. Lock 22 Productions. Oh, okay. Let me look that up. Oops. I got my mouse on here.
I am Grendel. It is my honor to serve
Interesting.
the God Emperor.
Let's kind of skip through that. Let's see. Home. It's your wrestling show on it. I'll find it here. 22.
So now you know what's at stake.
Oops.
The Inquisitor clearly thinks you have what it takes. And as you've come through all that unscathed,
So we're in the 50s right now. This isn't really into the meat of things.
terminal for your first assignment.
Lock 22. I see that. Ben and Uncle Russ talk about This Week in Wrestling. And that was like, was that 2 days ago? Or that's when the show went up? You record it on Sundays. And then you do they release it whenever. See if we can skip through that. Can we just get into quick play? Let's just do that.
I hope you're rested, Reject, because I have a particular
2 Marks and a
mission that requires
Spark.
your
That's the show.
We have a chance to reshape the course of the war.
We've got a problem at Manufactorum HL 1736.
I think they're decent. They got like, what, 1,000 plus subscribers.
Sort it out and get the smelter
Nice.
operational.
How did you get connected with them?
36 and his Lehman Russ production lines are vital, so don't foul this up.
I mean, what's funny, it's not really hard to believe that wrestling goes with video games pretty well. People like to talk about it. I know there's a bunch of groups that are like in the retro game scene, and then the home arcade scene. But this thing is like doing a little bit of like jumping around. The Real Savage, welcome. Thank you for the subscribe. The retro home arcade scene, or the home arcade scene, they're also got a group of people that like that love wrestling. So oh god, 38 frames, yeah, a little bit low. This is such like a, what do you call it, like Dead or Alive or Left 4 Dead type game, like horde mode. But yeah, it's running a little rough on low. Don't know if we can adjust any of the settings. We can't right now because I know we're in a match, but and I only have, oh, now I have a gun. I thought I only had a melee weapon. I should have checked. Can I help? Yep. I hit him with the shovel. Oh, where did my weapon go? There we go. Connect you to Damien, who owns Lock 22. Gotcha. Oh, wow, man. You've went through a lot of things. That's a pretty big production if you've got publicists and stuff. That's pretty funny. Congratulations on that success. Oh. Is he dead? He's dead. Okay, I want to take a look at the options. Video, 1080p, FSR 1.0 is all they support. Ray tracing's off. We're on quality. We could go down to performance. Okay, let's see if that does anything. So that's, now we're in the 40-ish. No, now we're in the 70s. Okay. So that helped a lot, putting FSR and adjusting it. Somebody hit the button. Okay. Now it's 60s. That's not too bad. But it's still like a little choppy, so I don't know if it's really... It's the Legion Go has this weird thing every once in a while, and they've tried to fix it with BIOS updates and all of that, but it still does this weird, like, just stuttering thing. Not every game, just certain games. You stressing out over what you're going to do for work this summer? It's literally nothing. Like all your past contracts are not looking for anyone, or are out of business entirely. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, like, you should jump on Fiverr. Throw something up on there, see, you know, kind of put your experience. I mean, obviously, use ChatGPT to write some of the stuff. It's usually, like, the quickest way to do it. Adjust it, and then throw it up on there and see if you can't get, like, any bites on that. You know what I mean? Like, you could get some bites on, like, social media, maybe your audio, your editing skills. Do it for like cheap, so like maybe somebody will look at it. Do like an hour for like $10. Do some consulting for them. Then maybe they'll kind of go like, yeah, you know, we really need your help, and then you can talk about like what you would pay per, you know, what your hourly rate would be. It's at least a way to pull some contract stuff. I mean, it's not the most glorious thing, but I run into a lot of that stuff where I don't do glorious stuff anymore. I do what it takes to get by. Like, I've offered to do, what were some of the things that I offered to do? Like, just go through, like, cheaply, like, do, like, publisher efforts for indie devs, like, kind of review their submissions to Steam, like, for their launch pages and all that stuff. And just kind of give them pointers, check their work, you know, in terms of like their photoshops and, you know, their thumbs and their screenshots and everything else. Kind of like they're basically publishing a submission to Steam just to see if like it's up to snuff for like what they need, like a, you know, if they don't have like a media press kit readily available, kind of help them get that. Yeah, just kind of stuff like that seems very like low level, but a lot of people don't have that experience. And if you do it cheap enough, they're willing to like take a risk on it just to kind of see, and then like you work out a different deal to help them with like something else. Just something like that to float you by, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean, man. I don't know of any right now, though. If I hear of anything, like I said, I'll let you know. If anybody, like, is, you know, that I talk to in these... See how it's stuttering right there? Like, right there. That could be the internet, though. Which I'm surprised it's not taking the stream down. Actually, I'm going to jump out of this. Because I'm watching it stutter, and I forgot that this game is, like, you're playing with 4 others. So I'm kind of thinking, like, that was the internet failing on me. And I don't want it to drop the stream out. Starlink is not the greatest. But yeah, if I get anything from mine that people are looking for that type of work, man, I will, because I don't do that necessarily, like audio work and all that stuff. So I will, I'll let you know. Let's see. Let's take a look really quick at Skyrim. This will be our last game that people voted on. And then we'll jump into Morbid, and then we'll call it a night. So we're getting out of here before 3 hours, I think. See, there still is the launcher when you play on the on a Windows device, like this, on a portable Windows device. They don't pass over the Linux version, so to speak. I don't live in Seattle anymore. I moved into the mountains. Like, I live way out, like into the mountains of the Cascades. Into the Cascade Mountains, sorry. Like, this is it. Like, if I don't have Starlink, I don't have internet. I don't even get cell phone reception where I live. Like, we use Starlink. Starlink, you know, you connect, and then your phone has, like, Wi-Fi calling or whatever. So that's how we call. But I work completely from outside of the job I'm doing now. Right, where I like drive in and I like go to those facilities and I like paint and stuff like that. Like, I drive in to do that stuff, and that's probably about 60 miles away. But I try to limit that down. So everything else is like online. Like, I was working remote for many years. When I was doing licensing for that company in Germany, like, I worked out of my house, and Starlink was it. Like, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have a job. Yeah. So, but it's, you know, Starlink is great. It's amazing. Look at this thing. It's hidden behind it. That's the problem. Hold on. It's hidden behind because of that launcher. Ridiculous. Let's see if we can get this thing to the forefront. Come on. Come on. What is going on with... There it is. There it is. Okay. I don't want to download anything. It's going to force me, isn't it? It is. So we're probably not even going to get through this because it's forcing me to do this download. And I didn't do this ahead of time. I don't think we're going to be able to check out Skyrim on here. It's okay, though. I mean, obviously, I've done the videos for it. You can expect to play 60 frames per second on Skyrim on the Legion Go, but this is unfortunate because it didn't. It's forcing me to like take the download, which I mean, just to be able to check this out, we don't need it, but I can't get around it, I don't think. Let me just see real fast. Yeah, no, it won't even bypass it. And again, Starlink is good, but it's not the fastest thing onto the planet, or off the planet, so to speak. So I don't know if it'll let me. Yeah, what a shame, man. I wonder what it would do if it had no internet. Like, would it allow you to play? Let's try that. I'm curious. Let's just see if we, like, exit this. And we go back in. And we turn off the internet on the device. If it'll go like, oh, okay. Here, we'll let you play without doing the download. Because what would they do? I guess you might be screwed. There are some scenarios where you're just screwed if you don't download everything. Yeah, I love it though, man. I live along a river. Like, have just a nice little house, nothing big, but it's like out of the way. It's nice. Yeah, this thing is not going to be friendly. Okay. We force close that. Now, let's do this. Let's pull the internet off of that because it does have it wired in. And then let's turn off the internet here and here, and let's just see what it does. Let's see what Skyrim will do. See what if it'll like say, hey, you can play, or no, you have to do that download. Because it would be like, just let us bypass that and go in. I forgot it did force me to do the download on the Steam Deck. I should have thought about that. But I was thinking also that might have been just like, it was forcing me to do it because it was forcing me to do it because it was a new build than I hadn't played before. But I don't think that's the case. It's probably got to do outside that. Well, no, I think that would be it. So, okay, let's see what it does. Looks like we might be okay. Sweet. Oh, it doesn't have all the stuff. We'll see what it does. But I think it's letting me go through. Go forward. Yes. Okay, cool. So we are playing at 1080p, and I think we're on the highest settings. So keep all of that in mind. Like, we are on high settings where we can't even change any settings now on the Steam Deck on the new version. We're on the highest settings that you can have on PC, and we're at like 40-ish. So I would probably suggest to say you could either do one of two things. You could drop it down to 1280 by 800p on the Legion Go and keep everything at max settings, and you would get well over 60 frames per second, or at 60. Or you could keep it at 1080p and drop it to like medium settings, maybe with lower shadows. This looks good. I mean, it's not 60, but Skyrim's one of those games where it doesn't have to be 60. I will be a little bit busy this week, but I'm happy to jump on, man. I'll respond to your Discord message, and we can try to figure it out. I'm also always on Steam. Like, if I'm not on Discord, if I don't get back to you on there, just ping me on Steam Messenger. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I like always am working within Steam some way, so you can always get a hold of me there. But yeah, I'd be up for playing anything if I've got the time, man. I play everything, man. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't know if there's anything that I've been looking at playing. I know that next week, funny enough, Destiny's putting out the final, what's it called? The final verdict, or the final thing. Funny enough, but I don't know if I'm up to playing Destiny after 10 years. But yeah, this looks really nice on here. Like, I would be happy playing it at this level. At 40 frames per second, like locking it to 40 and just playing this game on a trip or something like that on that nice big 8-inch screen. That's the one nice advantage. It's almost a 9-inch screen, I think. It's like 8.9 or whatever. It does look really good on the Legion Go, although the battery life is not as good as the Steam Deck. You tried Destiny again, it's bad. What other game is coming? There's another one coming out. I can't think of it off the top of my head. There's Destiny. And then we just got Ghost of Tsushima. Obviously not, there's co-op, but not really big co-op, right? It's not the thing. Man, what am I missing? What's coming out? I don't know, I'll have to take a look. But anyhow, I've got tons of games, man, so we could play anything. It's not a real big deal. But I do know, like, I've got 2 studios to paint for some hairstylists that are coming in. And that's going to take, like, some evenings. So I got to figure out, like, what evenings those are. But yeah, we'll figure something out. But yeah, you can kind of see. I mean, these games, if we really wanted to, like, we'd lower some of the settings, it'd be fine. But you could also just play it at 1080 or 800p, sorry. Oh, the crabs are mad. I took their treasure. Die, crab. All right. Well, I think we're good on Skyrim. Like, again, if you wanted to get 60 or more frames per second, you just drop it to 800p and you could keep highest settings. The Steam Deck, you have no choice, but it plays at 60 frames per second. You can't adjust anything any longer unless you work your way around it. Like I said, I think you could go into the config file and you could adjust it there and possibly make changes to it. But you might get really bad performance too. But for the Legion Go, this looks pretty good. So let's jump out of here. We got about 10 or so minutes left. Let's go ahead and kick on Morbid, which is a Souls-like that just came out. I think it came out Friday. It might have been in early access, or it might be in early access. Let's do it on the Legion Go since we've got it running. Oh, I took the internet off. Hold on. Let me turn that back on. Well, actually, let me just plug it into the hard wire here. Here we go. Let's see if that puts us back online. I don't think it is. Can we get to the store? Nope. Maybe my hardline isn't working. Let's turn Wi-Fi on. Maybe I thought it was working, but it might not be plugged in because I've got like wires going everywhere. I need to redo this whole setup. Oh, my neck. Well, maybe, you know what? If we restart Steam, it'll come back up. Let's exit Steam altogether. And we'll go back in. And maybe it'll recognize that it's online. Let's close that out. And then reopen it. And then we can call it an evening here. But I do appreciate everybody for hanging out. I mean, a lot of people view this as the VOD. So if you haven't already, here comes my pitch. Subscribe to the channel. And you too can vote on what games we show here every Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific time on Factor of Games. It's called the Weekly Factor. And essentially a vote or a poll goes up every day, Monday through Friday. And there's 4 games in there. And they're basically games you want to see running on the Legion Go or the Steam Deck. And they pretty much they're either on sale, on a bigger sale or something like that, or they're newer games, or they're something specific to them, right? There's something interesting going on with them. And you vote on which one out of the 4. That one gets carried forward to Saturday. So there's 5 games that are shown on each device if they run. If they don't run, we show that as well. But if they run, show that on there. There's 5 on each device. And then I pick a 6th one, and that's what we're going to take a look at now. So let me get back into big picture mode. So everybody gets to vote. There's no charge. You don't even have to be subscribed, but you get notified when the voting poll goes up if you're subscribed in your feed. And then every Saturday we'll go through all of those. So it's kind of fun. I don't know. I started doing it at the beginning of the year, and it's worked out really well. And I appreciate everybody that hangs out and checks them out. And if you can, like I said, beyond subscribing, click that like button. It should get a ring around it. I've noticed that if you say click the like button or the like button, actually YouTube is listening to that, and they'll put like a little ring that appears around it in the VOD, and it'll circle the like button. So that's something interesting. If you haven't said that in your YouTube channel, say that, because it gets that little like thing activated. I thought that was neat. I didn't know that did that, but they started implementing it. So this game, let's take a look at game info and the store page. This came out May 17th. Sorry. So this is one of those ones that's like a week ago. Usually the game that I pick is either a week out, the same week, or a week ahead of when it will come out. And they still got it on sale, but this one's like a Souls-like female protagonist. It's got all sorts of stuff in it. Merge is the company that made this one, or publishes this one. And let's jump in and take a look at it. I like kind of newer Souls-likes. And again, I get like people are like, well, stop calling it Souls-like, because they're not action RPGs, but I guess they kind of are. They're kind of like that. I don't know. People say Souls-like because they know what Dark Souls is, right? Everybody equates Dark Souls to this type of game. But I get where they're come from, but it's the easiest way for people to know what to call these things. Let's see here. So we're not going to change much graphics wise. We'll keep it all on low 1080p. We'll start it there, and then we'll go up. We'll see how the game does, because on the Steam Deck it runs 50s, 60s on low. If you put it on high, it runs like 30s. And for these types of games, I will say it's nice to have them when they run at 60, right? Like they just feel better. So let's see if we can get it to 60 on low, especially with the 1080p on the Legion Go. It's got a little bit more power that it can throw at it. So maybe we'll get 60. But it feels pretty good. I mean, the combat feels pretty good. Some of the animations and stuff like that are they're not the quality of something like a Dark Souls or Demon Souls or Lords of the Fallen, right? Kind of levels. They're just not there. But it's a newer dev, newer franchise, right? Trying to compete in this arena. So we're getting 40s. This is a little bit lower than what I wanted on the Legion Go. Should have been at 60, I thought. Well, there's 50s. I don't know. Let's just see how we do when we get outside. Sometimes the Legion Go does not mean it's going to be better, right? In terms of like the power that it does have over the Steam Deck. There's 48. Can you make tutorial live stream with the Steam Deck? Is it Ritz Langsia? For this game, yes, I can do that. Yep. And I will do that later this week. You can kind of see like when you roll like into the snow and all that, there's like very little like detail to it. That was one of the things I noticed the most. This is a little bit more, but like this, you can tell there's like a quality difference, but this is still a good quality game. It still looks nice. It's not as optimized as I'd like it to be. We're just at the very beginning too. So we can lock on. Oh. She uses her Wonder Woman bracelet is what it's like to block arrows. That's what it reminds me of. Like, go ahead. Direct fire. Then you got your kill. Let's see. I don't know if we can make any adjustments other than the only thing we can really do is actually like take this, move it down to 7. Well, we could do 16 by 900. Let's just do a little bit less. I don't know if we'll see any benefit. Probably 1280 by 720 is going to be the real winner here. Which is better, Steam Deck or Legion Go? You know, everybody always asks that. It's a complex question. And the reason why I'd tell you that is Valve is going to support Steam Deck for a long time, right? They're a company that does that. They still support VR headsets that have pretty much aged out, the VR, the Valve Index, but they still support it heavily, right? Like they go in there and do work for it. They make sure like developers are supporting it. So the Steam Deck has the ability to be supported for quite a long time. Legion Go, the companies that make these, like Lenovo, ROG, right? Asus, which is ROG, they don't have really the same interest in it. They don't make money off of the games that are sold on it. So for them, it's kind of like, well, we make hardware and we make that hardware as good as we can so people will buy the hardware. But like in terms of supporting that hardware, they're on to making the next one. Like you've already heard the rumors of, you may have already heard the rumors of the ROG Ally 2. That's a common thing for like a PC manufacturer to do. They don't make money off the software. Valve makes all of their revenues, majority of all their revenues, off of the sale of a game, right? Like they don't make it off of the hardware itself. They probably, maybe now they don't take a loss on the hardware, but I think the original Steam Deck, they were probably losing money on each of the units, but they make so much money on the games that are sold for it, they don't care, right? That's minuscule, but they're going to support that. So if you want something that's going to be supported, I would tell you to like go with the Steam Deck. If you want something that is going to be able to play games a little bit better fidelity, like at 1080p instead of 720p or 800p, the Legion Go is a pretty good device, but your battery time suffers for that. And you're only going to get maybe at the max 2.5 hours on the Legion Go. Where on the Steam Deck, depending upon the game, and as well as depending upon the game for the Legion Go, you're going to get upwards of 5 hours. Like Hades 2 can run for 5 hours on the Steam Deck OLED. It's a solid game. Look at this guy. He pulls his sword out with his mouth. Okay. Let's see if we can't take him down. But that would be the considerations I would look at. If you travel a lot and you don't have access to like an AC outlet, consider the Steam Deck, right? You're going to get more out of it, the Steam Deck OLED specifically. If you travel, if you're mainly playing at home on the couch or something like that, and you can plug it into a power source, the Legion Go is excellent. Hey, appreciate it. Yeah, that's how I would put it. I don't think there's really an advantage or a disadvantage to either device. It's just really, the screen looks amazing on both devices, right? HDR is not the biggest thing that I worry about, but the OLED screen looks really nice on the Steam Deck. The LCD screen looked really good on it too. I traveled around a lot end of last year for a job, for a place I was working for. And I would take the Legion Go a lot because the Legion Go does have a couple things that Linux doesn't have right now, or the Steam Deck doesn't have, which you could record gameplay easily on the Legion Go, like if you were playing a lower end game. And for the channel, I was doing work on the road, so I was recording stuff locally on the device if it wasn't taking a lot of resources, like it wasn't like a AAA game. So there is like that aspect, like there's some things there, but I did run out of battery a lot on the Legion Go. Like it was, most cases, if I was trying to do something like that and I didn't have a power source, I would get maybe 60 to 80 minutes of gaming on it while I was recording stuff and really using the machine. All right, so we're a little bit further in. But yeah, this game came out. This is a nice Souls-like mechanic. It's like a good, feels solid. You know, we're not getting the 60 frames per second on this device, so to speak, but they have not. This is the other side of it. We talked about this earlier in the live stream. They didn't plan on these, right? These are not like optimized. This game is not optimized for these devices. So that's something you've got to consider. They will probably go in, given that they'll get, you know, another week's worth of information. They'll probably start working on some patches to optimize, and the game will get like a little bit better performance. It does take some time for studios to kind of get to optimizing for portable devices. Is it true that we can have an Xbox Game Pass on Steam Deck? Yes, but it's a weird design. It's not, unless you go in and you put Windows, which I don't recommend putting Windows on the Steam Deck. I don't think it works well. But you could like load in Windows and boot Windows, and then you could play you know, your Game Pass just like you would on the Legion Go. It's possible, right? The other solution, the way most people who don't do that play Game Pass is they stream Game Pass via a browser on their Steam Deck, which you've got to have really good internet for. I don't have really good internet. While Starlink is good, it's not fast enough to stream because of the latency issues. So I don't do that myself. So I've never shown that. But you could do it. It's possible. I missed sneaking up on him. So there's a couple different ways to go about that. Like I said, you can put Windows on the Steam Deck if you buy a license or just go out and get it, right? Like you can test it out. You don't have to even have to buy a license to test it. You just have to like go in and follow some tutorials to configure the hard drive to where you can dual boot, essentially. And you can even do that on Legion Go. I've never tried it myself, but you could even put Steam OS through a couple solutions onto the Legion Go, which I think would work really well, but I've never tried it personally. These crows are from Bloodborne. They walk like the ones in that do. Oh, got me. Yeah, no, anytime, man. Appreciate you stopping in. Thanks for asking. Pretty sure Microsoft's going to do Game Pass to Steam eventually. Yeah, you know, I wouldn't discount that. Yeah. I think that they probably will do something beyond Xbox. The issue that they would run into with that, as you'd probably know about it, is just they're going to have to pay Steam some level of money to make it interesting for Steam to showcase it, right? Like maybe they don't do the 30%, but Steam is so adamant on keeping everybody at the same levels with the 30% that I don't know what they would do in that scenario. Maybe there's a way, maybe they find a way around it for Linux. Maybe Microsoft actually does the work and gets the Linux builds prepped and ready, which would be the ideal thing. They don't even have to put it on Steam so much as to just make sure that it's native on, or it'll run natively on Steam Deck, which would take like doing the work that Valve has done with Steam, where Proton is, automatic, and you don't have to like do the configuration yourself, and the games run because, the OS handles what Proton you need to have and things like that. So Microsoft needs to do that level of effort, which they're not really doing a lot of level of effort for anything anymore, unfortunately. Microsoft's definitely getting pushed into a corner, yeah. And so Sony, eventually. Right? PC, there's really not a lot of differentiation between PC gaming and console gaming anymore. There's exclusives, but in terms of like, they're all pretty much the same device. It's just different configurations. I'm gonna kill this bird. Get out of here. Nice. It looks like you can use that like death kill pretty much anytime you want in the game. Like you don't have to worry about your stamina. If it pops up, you can just do that type of kill. Okay, I'm gonna try to run my stamina down. Okay, she's tired there, but well, maybe you can't do it. So I can't do that orange one. No? I don't know. It seems like you can just do it whenever you want. Whenever the icon pops up. The red icon. Yeah. I mean, exclusives are going to be there as long as Sony's doing it. I don't think Microsoft's going to do too many exclusives anymore. I think they kind of given that up. But Sony, they will definitely stay on the exclusive train for as long as they can, I think. Obviously, Nintendo will as well. I would rather get rid of exclusives. I think it just fragments a lot of stuff, and really it's kind of ridiculous why. That's what's killed VR so far, is like this exclusive kind of realm, and not supporting, not just allowing the technology to flourish. It's like companies have to have exclusives to make it reasonable for them to make the product, which I think if people would have, like if Meta and Valve and Sony would have all kind of banded together, HTC maybe, really HTC doesn't matter, but like if those three would have said, okay, we're just going to support this as a new, like almost like a consortium, where you don't have an owner over that idea, that technology, but everybody contributes to it, and there's a body that governs like what the tech should be and all of that. It would have made it much easier on the developers, and there would be far more support for VR and more money being made today. The exclusivity components of those VR things have ultimately put VR in a very tough situation. Like Sony's almost out of the game in VR. They'll be dead in VR shortly. They're not going to support it much anymore. Once they go and they open up the drivers and make that available for PC to use that PSVR 2 on PC, they're done making VR games. I don't believe they'll ever do it again. That'll be their final, like, this is not something we want to be involved with. Meta will stay into it because that's their bread and butter, right? For gaming. Like they really own, sorry, it's not their only method of gaming, but like they are the leaders in terms of the hardware. And then Valve will just stay in it because they're the platform that everybody goes to. I wouldn't say it's dead so much as it's close, right? Like you make a good point. I guess effectively is a good word for it. But like, I think it'll still survive. I think it's a niche product because of everybody wanted to own it. They wanted it to be like, Sony wanted it to be like, we are the only ones that have the VR that you want to play. Where it should have been like, it's such a new technology, we should all just be in this together. And then once it's big enough and it's got tens and 20 millions of players playing and buying games, maybe even into the 50-ish millions, then we'll fight over who owns that space with games. but they did it too early and they really screwed themselves. They screwed everybody, ultimately taking it away from a ability to grow and just cutting it off at its ankles. Do you like the Series X or the PS5 more? You know, I'll be honest, I don't play a lot of consoles. I got both of them sitting here. They barely get turned on. I would say the X gets turned on the least. It's almost like a doorstop. The PS5 is probably like getting to be the door wedge. PC is really where I play, right? It's hard to go and play on console. Not for the fact of anything other than it's tough for me to justify buying multiple things because I really want to play it on a Steam Deck and take it with me. And there's no experience other than, PC that offers that really well. In terms of new games, retro games, you can find all sorts of stuff that'll play retro games on pocket devices. But I think that for Sony, they're trying to bring out like the rumor is like Vita 2 or whatever their next portable device is coming out. If it's not like a Steam Deck, I don't know if it's going to make it. What's up, Cherry Man Gaming? How are you? Just getting ready to end, man. How's things been? Anything? Were you streaming today? I don't know if you were or not. I didn't catch it. I've been out all day. But yeah, I would say like for the console, if I was to pick a console and I had to pick a console, I'd say like PS5. Because it does have some exclusives, although I hate that they do have exclusives. It does have those. But man, I'll tell you, I think that PC is really the way to go. Got a video coming up. Nice, man. What are you going to be doing it on? The ROG Ally? Yeah, I was going to say the new ROG Ally, or the proposed one. Yeah, it was weird getting rid of. The specs on it. Very cool, man. Yeah, you're usually the place I go to check that out. I don't do specs and stuff like that on my channel. Sony losing Persona was an exclusive. Yeah, it was kind of weird that I don't know what they did on that. Like, Persona's been with them, like Shin Megami Tensei. Persona's been around since the PS1, right? Like, that was something that they were really known for. So I don't know why they're letting that one go and they're not letting other things go. Like, why isn't Bloodborne or hell, even Demon Souls on Xbox or sorry, on PC? They lowballed them. Yeah. Atlas. Yeah, I could see that. Well, I mean, also Atlas was like, if we don't have to make it exclusive, why do that? We're missing out on a large market, growing market if we just stick to one platform. A really bad faith offer. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's how it goes, right? Like the lure of just making a larger audience out of for your product is pretty good. Supporting PlayStation for all those years. I mean, while PlayStation was big, I mean, PS5 is not really, I don't think it's too far off from, I know it's not doing as well as like the PS4 did, but it's not too far off from like those numbers in terms of where it is in its life. But yeah, it's not really the way I see it moving forward. Legion Go VGA graphics driver may finally be coming soon. Man, we've had a lot of issues with the Legion Go tonight. Although I like that device, it's just been like that's Senua Saga Hellblade II just is a pain in the ass to get running on that device. I don't know what's up with those AMD drivers. But that'll be good. I mean, I'd love to see more support coming from Lenovo on it. They've been pretty good about it. About getting it updated. It takes some time, but the BIOS and all that stuff has been, making some changes, making some differences. I saw some massive improvements back in like December-ish timeframe, January timeframe. So I'm all for them helping support that stuff. But owning a PC is basically a must for gamers now. I think you should at least own, one of these portable devices for sure. If you don't want to go all in and spend thousands, I get that. I mean, it's ridiculous to spend $4,000, $3,000 on a video game rig, $2,000 even, when you can go get a PS5 for $499. But ultimately, you're going to be able to get access to so many more games at a much cheaper price, given that the market you can buy in different places and put the games on Steam or put them on Epic Store or put them on from Xbox Game Pass or whatever it is. Your cost of the software moving forward is going to be far lower. Although devs don't like that. Well, publishers don't like that. That's not necessarily the ideal scenario, but it's something they have to deal with PC. That's why they like consoles still, the big publishers. Yeah, the indie market's going to get a little bit tough because indies are not getting the publishing deals they used to have. Like there's so many indie games out there that don't get published. I mean, for every one that gets published, there's probably 100 that don't. I would tell you that's probably the case. When I was doing licensing, I brought about 100 games to the publisher and only 3 were considered and maybe only 1 actually got a contract. And then it didn't even, I don't know. I left before it got signed. I don't think they ever signed it. So that was like 0 for 100. I would tell you there's that many. I mean, maybe it's a little bit less. Maybe it's like 1 out of every 20 gets a publisher, and then everybody else is to push the game out on their own. But, Valve still is on that 300 plus game releases a day schedule, right? Like that's pretty considerable. That's how many games go into the market. So if 300 launch in a day, you can start to figure out, well, it's 300 a day or 300. Am I quoting that? I might be misquoting that. Hold on. Let me think about that. I'm in 300 a week. Sorry, 300 a week. Sorry. I was trying to do the math. I was like, that doesn't sound right. Roughly 300 a week take 300 times 5,000. It's about 15,000. So maybe a little bit less, maybe like 250 or 300 a week, something like that. I know they were up into the 10,000 games a year at one point. They might have gone down a little bit because, again, not everybody can finish their game, right? Because they don't have the money, they don't have the publishers, they don't have the resources, the time. That's why games are stuck in like early access hell, right? They never get out of it. Not everything's like that, but the gaming industry is a little grim when you look at it from certain perspectives. It's not as healthy as it once was. But it really grew too. I mean, really grew fast. Talking about billions of dollars a year in terms of what the industry does. I don't know. I wish I could talk more on that type of stuff. I just don't know if the audience here is interested in the gaming industry like that. Are we are headed for an industry crash? I don't know if we're headed for an industry crash like happened in the 80s. That was a little bit different. That was like excess in a way that was like physically driven and limited distribution. There's no issue with distribution ever on digital, right? But there is a visibility issue in getting your game visible in front of people. That's probably the pain of every developer. Hellblade 2 it does look amazing. I will say that man, you put that on a 4090 and run that game, like graphically, Ninja Theory did an amazing job. It's not, I don't know if it's a good game or not. I really can't get the sense of, is it's not just a walking simulator to me, because I've seen walking simulators, but I just can't get the sense of if it's an interesting enough game that would represent 7 years of development. That's my concern with it, especially for such a shorter experience. Although long experiences can be just as shitty, or not as shitty. That's a bad term. A long experience, like a 60 to 100 hour game, doesn't mean it's a good game. It just means that like there's a lot of grinding, or there's a lot of like filler, or there's a lot of like stuff to draw it out. A 5 to 7 hour experience can be really good. It's got to be done well. And I'm sure that game does that. But for 7 years of development, I don't know. Playing it is just so, like, that first part is just miserable to me in terms of like the march that you've got to do at the beginning of the game. I don't know. Maybe it's just I'm not interested in that type of game. It'd be great in film. It's not a good game, from what I gather. Yeah, you know, I mean, that's the other side. Like, when your game does get visibility, the unfortunate thing is it can be for the wrong reasons. It can be because everybody hates your game, or there's a not detractors. I don't know if that's the right term, but there are people that just don't like the game, and they're the loudest of the group, and that's why you're getting visibility. So you can get stung in the ass for that if you're a developer / publisher. So it's not always the best thing, but at least you're getting talked about, which is actually showing your game on the front, or getting your game to eyeballs, which is the problem that ultimately this, if there is a crash imminent in the gaming industry, it's because there's too much in terms of games. It's not about the distribution platform, because I guess it's still the same problem, right? If you've got so many games that you can't get visible to the end user, then your game doesn't have any audience. But it's not like the game crash in the 80s where it was like Sears Roebuck, or whatever their name was, Sears, had like thousands of cartridges they just could never get rid of, and they were in a dollar bin because they just took up shelf space that they could have put like a blender on. So it was like the reasons are different, right, in that sense. So I don't know. It's always fun to talk about. Maybe what we should do is have like a little bit more of like maybe I should bring on some friends, right, from the games industry. See if anybody would want to do like guest spots where they would come in and talk about kind of where they're at in the games industry and what they're thinking. I've talked about it before, thought about it, but never have done it. I don't know if I used to have some developers that wanted to come on and talk about it. You know, talk about their games when they launched, what got them into developing, you know, what they think about Unity and all these other backends. Yeah, it would be interesting, I think. But I just have a fear that I only have one perspective of the industry, and I might not be smart enough to talk to some of these people. Live service games are really a pain. Yeah. I mean, we've started the decline of live service stuff. Although there are some publishers that just will never get out of the MMO world. They want to be, that's the only place they think they can make money. I worked for one, and it was tough, right? You couldn't convince them to try anything else. Like, it had to be a live service game. It had to be a game that they could make monthly revenues on, and it had to be like so big. So like, even if a good quality game came, but if it didn't have like a live service component, or if it didn't have like a monthly fee associated with it, they wouldn't touch it. And it was miserable working for them. It was not fun. They wouldn't take a risk on doing anything. So, you know, it's kind of tough. But I think it's enough for today. I appreciate you guys listening to me ramble on. It's been fun. We've talked about a lot today. Looked at some games, went through the stuff that you guys voted on. Again, appreciate everybody that clicks the like button, does this, you know, comments after it on the VODs and subscribes. I greatly appreciate all that. Yeah, games weren't always like this. That's right, Cherry, man. It was a little bit different. There were periods where everybody was really interested in just trying new things and like investing in games. Publishers actually didn't think about like the monthly fee because it wasn't something that they could think about. They didn't know about it yet at that point. I know. Yeah, man. It's always the same, Ben. No, it doesn't change. Yeah, the hi-fi rush, that was a shame. Yeah, great games don't care. It doesn't make a difference all the time. Like if you make a great game, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to make another one or you'll get a chance to make another one, even though if you could. There's some good industry people to like follow, like Ralph from Hinterland Studios, the guy that runs that. Like check him out. Hinterland made what's their game? The Lone Dark. And it's a fabulous game, and he's still doing that stuff. And like his team only focuses on that, and like they don't care about a monthly fee. And they do a DLC that's maybe, I think the one they did was like 5 or 6 years after they put the game out. Another one would be Hello Games, right? Check out No Man's Sky and just like see the idea about how they build a game that still to this day they don't charge anything more for. They've never charged for any of the DLCs. They've never charged for anything that they built, like the VR that they added into it. It's just you buy the game and that's it. And they've made a fantastic business out of that. So there's some companies that still hang around. Yeah, that's true. Like CD Projekt Red, they've never really been into the monthly. Like they do have the DLC side, right? Like Witcher 3 had DLC. I think even Witcher 2 had it. Obviously Cyberpunk has done it, but I mean, they've really, Cyberpunk was a weird case because they were kind of like apologizing for what they'd done, but they've made amends and they've started to fix it, just like No Man's Sky. Hello Games, they made a sin early on in No Man's Sky. They didn't intend to, but they overpromised and underdelivered, and then they changed that, and it took 10 years. Well, has it been 10 years? 8 years at least. It might be coming on 10, but they've been working on that game for a long time without asking any more money for it, which is Sean Murray over there that leads that is fantastic in that sense. Like he definitely has made amends in their next game. I don't know how it'll turn out, but it looks interesting, right? Like I'll play it. They've done right by me. Cyberpunk is a great game now. Yeah, I agree. I've always liked the folks over at CD Projekt Red. I think that, management just got a little bit lost. They went the wrong direction. They paid for it. It wasn't the team. It wasn't the people that were developing the game. That was literally a management decision. They knew that. So some companies are pretty good about it, but then you've got your like line steppers, like habitual line steppers, right? That are always there. Like Ubisoft is the number one habitual line stepper. They always do the same mistake. They make money, but I mean, they don't care. They won't learn. Like this whole thing with Epic Games. This is not against Epic Game Store or whatever, but Ubisoft, every launch on Steam has had to cut the price down to 85% off on launch day because they did the exclusivity with Epic Games and screwed themselves. They do it every time. That will be the same for the Mirage Assassin's Creed game when it launches on Steam. Look for it to be, at bare minimum, 75% off of MSRP. Most likely it'll probably be like 85% off when it launches on Steam. Yeah, they do the same dumbass stuff every time. I don't know. They make money at it, though. I'd love to see some of these companies and the way they do it. I know that everybody that does exclusives with Epic's losing money. I don't care what they tell me. They might get the money up front, but they lose the opportunity. They're taking what they can up front, and they're just shooting themselves in the foot. Because people on Steam, they don't. Not that this is a good thing or a bad thing, but they don't forget that. And, the games suffer, certainly, when they launch on Steam. They could make far more money. Yeah, they manage it poorly. That's been the case for a lot of developers. I mean, that's where even companies like Bethesda, who once were dominant, right? Like they being acquired by Microsoft did not do them any favors. It helped the investors, but I mean, in terms of like the game quality and where that game will go, where they will go in the future, will probably be to obscurity. There's not really too much you can convince me that they'll do bigger and better things. Skyrim 6 or Elder Scrolls 6, sorry. I don't know. Will it be a games as a service game just like Elder Scrolls Online? I don't think that'd be a great thing. Yeah, they were bleeding, right? Like they've had like the amazing runs, but I mean, it'll be funny. It'll be poetic justice, not justice, but poetic. If well, I guess you would say poetic justice if like Bethesda goes the way of like Interplay with the Fallout series and just dies off. Somebody else buys it or whatever. I don't know if that'll happen. They've fixed a lot of stuff in 76. Fallout 4 still sells well. They made a ton of money during the Fallout show. I really think Microsoft secretly has a good thing there. They just missed an opportunity to put a new Fallout game out there. Yeah, I would think it would be one of his last games. He's been doing it a long time. But yeah, I mean, Microsoft should have had a Fallout more than a DLC ready to, or not a DLC, a patch, right? Like ready to go. They should have had a game, at least in some sense, maybe not a full Fallout game, but like something like they did with that mobile game, Fallout Shelter, ready to go to capitalize. They missed that. It would have been nice. I think now if they rush into it, they're going to really cut corners to get something out for Fallout Season 2 or Season 3, right? Somewhere in between there if they tried to rush. That was some of the rumor. I could see a remaster. That'd be nice. I like Fallout 3. Fallout 3 is my favorite game. I don't know why. Just DC or something like that. But it was really fun to play that game. I would love to see them remaster it. I just don't know, like, if they could get the same interest, because games have changed a little bit that way. Like if it'll do as well as the original did. I thought they signed Fallout Season 2. Yeah, I know, Cherry, man. I mean, Microsoft's all over the place. I don't really, I don't have much hope for that. Like if they get out of their own way and let the studios go back to developing and just stop engaging. Like they say, oh, you studios need our help. Well, they didn't need your help before. They were making amazing games. They haven't made look at Rare. Rare hasn't really done much other than Sea of Thieves, and Sea of Thieves took a hell of a long time to get people interested in playing it. Same thing with Fallout 76. Now, I don't blame Fallout 76 on Microsoft necessarily, but it took a long time to kind of get people warmed up to that game. And they had to do a lot of changes. Same thing with like Sea of Thieves. But other than that, Rare, I mean, there's not much Rare's done beyond that. They filmed 1 and 2 back to back. I could see that because it all takes place in kind of California-ish. Like, not in I don't know where they film it, but like it's supposedly in the same kind of environment, like California, Nevada, right? 76 was pre-Microsoft, yeah. All of that was pre-Microsoft. But yeah, that's I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know what Microsoft's going to do, though. I don't think Game Pass is a good idea. I don't think it's their salvage. I think they lose tons of money. I've seen, well, everybody saw some of the deals. And it's expensive. And I don't know, Phil Spencer, must be a hell of a sales guy. Must be selling them like on something at the executive level that he hasn't shown the rest of the world yet. Because yeah, I don't know if I'd trust him. Yeah, they just seem like a lost ship right now. Like they're good. I'm sure they're all good people, but they just don't seem to have the right management leading them. And like, just stop bothering your studios. Let them build their games. You're the one that bought the damn things. Trust that you bought a good group of people to make games. They bought back catalogs too. That's the other side of it, you know. I think that we saw, what was it? The back catalogs that they've acquired, right? There's an opportunity for them to do like really quick remasters like EA did with like Command and Conquer and some of those older games that launched just a little bit ago, maybe about a month or two ago, that it's just a quick way to get like new remaster, like not even remastered. I wouldn't even call them remastered or like new builds, right? They just updated the game so they work with a controller on PC and they're kind of like Steam approved, but that's it. Like, but I mean, they make tons of money on those types of things where they just like push those out. They make them super cheap and you get like tens of thousands of sales every day for like a couple bucks, but that's still making you money on old properties that you haven't done anything with for years. It's back catalog stuff will be interesting as they move forward. The retro world knows this. That's why they're like, you know, I want to be able to play the games that I own on the hardware. And this is not anything against those people, but I mean, just in general, they want to hold on to that because otherwise companies like Nintendo are just going to keep putting out that games as a service without the games actually getting serviced, but they're just going to be the only way to play them, or the easiest way to play them will be, you know, within a digital storefront where you got to pay monthly for. That'll be the everybody's solution. Fable PC, yeah. It'd be smart to do a Fable update for all three. Yeah, the thing about Microsoft is they've been really good, and good is a bad term here, but like they've been really good at siloing and like just like sticking games on these like deserted islands of the consoles that they never get off again. Right? Like the entire Fable series, Fable 1, 2, and 3, yes, they were on PC at one point, or they are, right, at some level, but they have never updated them, never made any changes. And there's just like from the original Xbox days, you can just see tons of interesting games that were stuck on that original Xbox that never got off of that island, and they could come onto PC if Microsoft cared enough, but they don't care. I talked to them when I got laid off in 2022. A company had wanted me to take over their company, right? They were an upstart. They wanted me to take like the CEO position, and they were going to go to Microsoft and they were going to essentially say, hey, we want to get all the old Xbox titles, like all this big back catalog you guys have, and we want to remaster those and put them on mobile. This was a mobile move. And I spoke with the folks at Microsoft. They had no interest in ever doing that. They were like, yeah, it's not really something we care about. And they've got like hundreds and hundreds of old titles that would be interesting to like redo and put on PC. They won't do it. They don't care. If they do it, it'll probably be in Game Pass. But like that would be a lot of money and effort that they just don't really care to do. I mean, just looking at like how much it would have been to remaster one of those games, dude, I could sit there and give you like numbers and probably say like, oh, it could be done. You could take and update an original Xbox game, put it into Unity, kind of redo this, and I'd be estimating and guessing, but I'd say you could probably get it into Unity and maybe build an engine kind of like, what's the company that does I can see all of their logo too. Night Dive Studios. Night Dive Studios has been very good at building an engine. I think they're one of their guys, their lead devs is a YouTuber as well. He's pretty popular as far as I remember. I can't remember his name, but he has built an engine that can basically kind of pull FPS shooters. I don't know if it's strictly FPS shooters, but probably good at like the math and everything that you have to make those run really well on new machines into a new like engine, and then that engine can crank it out and make it like you can update the graphics, you can do everything. Like they've got this down pat, but if you were a brand new company coming in, you'd have to hire somebody to get it. Like just say you wanted to do a project at a very simple level, you'd have to get the game from Microsoft, the code, the original code. You'd have to get somebody to move that into Unity. And at that point, once it's in Unity, you could then do all the fancy updates. But would you really want to? That's a cost. But getting it just into Unity probably would be like, even if you went to India and did it, would probably be somewhere in the realm of like $500,000, I would guess, right? To update the engine, probably like $500,000 to $1 million. That's some of the quotes that I've seen. And that's, a considerable outlay for older games that, you have a hint that you might have an audience for, but it's going to be expensive. But Microsoft could do that easily. I don't know. They could just do this on their own and make it, just put a team in charge of it. And they could just crank these out like EA does. Be a quick way to make some money on back catalog stuff that they own. Since they've been acquiring all these studios, they have all this back catalog. And that could help the industry kind of move forward. But it's, what happens in that scenario is the same thing that happened in the EA scenario. EA released 20 games that day. And you know what that did to all the indies that were going onto Steam? It just screwed them. It like literally took them off of that what's new release instantaneously because they just took over all the spots because EA has the ability to do this, right? Like they can showcase games through all their other stuff. They can market well. They have this down to a science, and an indie is not going to have that. So it just screws the other part of the industry. Did you see all the Hades 2 source code stuff available for the game files? No, I haven't seen that. It's all written in Lewis. Okay. Hades 2, man, that thing's phenomenal in terms of optimized product, optimized game. Yeah, I don't know who will leave, Ben, from Microsoft. Man, I'll tell you, like I said, they haven't gotten rid of Spencer yet. He spent a lot of money. Billions and billions and billions of dollars. But yeah, no, Hades 2. I mean, we can all thank Hades original on Switch for probably what they did with Hades 2 in terms of like the quality level of that game when it launched into early access. Because it's still early access, right? I don't think it's a full release, although I think it could be a full release. It's really good. What am I supposed to do here? Like I said, he has to have a plan that he's sold them on. I just can't imagine. I mean, the plan could just be like, hey, we'll buy out all the studios so that we own all the properties. And regardless if we keep them exclusive, we'll still make tons of money if they go on other platforms. That's the plan. Could be. I mean, that would be an interesting plan. If you had just unlimited money, you just went out and bought every studio. It would be horrible for the industry, but I mean, you would make tons of money because you would just own everything. And Microsoft probably has the ability to do that. Buy everyone so nobody else has it. And you get the money by default. I don't know. Could be wrong about everything, but yeah, I think that they've hurt the industry a lot doing this. I don't think they've helped. But I think that's long enough. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you so much. I would like to think that they don't, but man, investors and private equity want to get their money out of things. It's hard to say if they want to sell or not. Right. There are some that are like in positions where they don't have to, like From Software. But, and you know, even like CD Projekt Red, they don't really have to sell, but if they had the right offer, their investors may be fine with it. Yeah, they say that then. Could be different now. All right, guys. Have a great evening. Appreciate it. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. We'll be back next week. But yeah, appreciate everybody for watching. I'm going to jump off. This has gone long. I might even have to delete half of this because it's not really interesting other than to a few people. But do appreciate you guys for hanging out and chit-chatting. And have yourself a good one. I'll talk to you later. Oh, I got to plug my mouse in. Hang on. I'm not ready to leave. My mouse was unplugged, so I can't move my stuff around. I guess I kind of have it. All right. Talk to you folks later. See ya. Bye.